This.
Partly cloudy, 21 today with a 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5-year servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
An emergency relief centre will be open in Berry today for flood-affected Riverland residents. Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says it will be a one-stop shop for access to support services.
By having the relief centre open, they can come in and get in-person help from the direct agencies who can best help them get a roof back over their heads.
A second centre will open in Mannum at the end of the week and another in Murray Bridge next week. Well, public has trumped private when it comes to NAPLAN test results in SA. Glenunga International High School topping the list as the number one performing secondary school for test results between 2017 and 2021. The Adelaide 500 is just days away. The Transporter Parade will make its way through the CBD this afternoon. Organiser Mark Warren says they can't wait to welcome back crowds on Thursday.
I think the after-race concerts, together with the racing, and then the off-track entertainment, some really cool stuff. And I think that because we took all the pricing back to 2012, we were keen to make sure that it was affordable as well.
Airports around the country are bracing for the biggest holiday rush in 3 years. Jessica Clancy has more.
The number of people travelling interstate in the lead up to Christmas will be at the highest level since before the pandemic. Around 15,000 flights are scheduled over 5 days. Sydney will be the busiest at more than 4,000 flights. Melbourne comes in second at 3,200 and Brisbane third at 3,200. Air Services Australia Chief Executive Jason Harfield has told The Australian efforts are being made to maintain smooth operations with looming industrial action from baggage handlers and airport firefighters, combined with unpredictable weather threatening the running order.
A volcano in Hawaii has erupted for the first time since the mid-1980s. US correspondent Alison Petrowski has more.
Hawaii's Big Island experienced more than a dozen earthquakes, the strongest a magnitude 4.2, as Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, erupted just before midnight local time. The Hawaii Island Mayor Mitch Roth says so far the eruption is contained to the summit.
We have not had to do any evacuations.
Flights to Hawaii are still operating. An ashfall advisory is in effect for the Big Island, and residents with respiratory conditions have been urged to stay indoors. The last time the volcano erupted was in March 1984, with lava flow coming within a couple of kilometres of the city of Hilo.
Britain's new Prime Minister has switched on the Downing Street Christmas lights in London. Rishi Sunak is spending his first festive season in the job. This time last year, Boris Johnson was in power. And Adelaide Oval will swap sport for rock and roll tonight. American band Guns N' Roses are in town. Fans can expect to hear all the big hits like Live and Let Die, November Rain, and the song that started it all. To FIVEAA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And it's good morning to this rock and roller, Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Mel. Yeah, you got to love Guns N' Roses. Every rose has its thorn is my favourite, though. It's been a big night for fathers, sons at the AFL draft with plenty of familiar names selected in the first round. Matt Granland has more.
Will Ashcroft, who many consider the most talented player in this year's draft pool, was bid on by North Melbourne at pick 2, ensuring the son of Triple Premiership player Marcus went to the Lions. Jasper Fletcher, the son of Adrian, was also a father-son pick for Brisbane. The son of Hawthorn and Fremantle midfielder Ben Allen has been nabbed by Collingwood. Ed Allen was the Knights' big slider. In the mix to be taken top 10, the Pies grabbed him at 19. And key position forward Aaron Cadman was taken at pick 1 by GWS.
And the Crows used their points
tonight.
And the Crows used their points to take their first ever father-son selection, Max Michelani at pick 17 after Sydney made a bid for him. Well, plenty of action at the World Cup overnight with Brazil leaving it late before getting past Switzerland 1-0. Ghana won a thriller against South Korea 3-2, while Cameroon and Serbia played out a cracking 3-3 draw. Portugal is currently up against Uruguay and there's about 15 minutes to play in the opening half, with scores currently locked at 0-0. And one game in the NBL last night with the Cairns Taipans cementing third spot on the table with a 94 to 88 point win against the Sydney Kings. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
21 today and partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow 24, Thursday sunny and 27, Friday sunny and 29. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 29th of November. We'll take you through what's happening in Adelaide and the world today, starting with the Adelaide airport, where we got sent some pictures a short time ago on the text line that tell one hell of a story. The security line, just to get your bag checked, see yourself beeped, to make sure there's no metallic objects on you, stretching out well beyond the terminal. In fact, it's doubled back a couple of times outside the terminal. John is at the airport and has just been stuck in it. John, where are you at the moment?
I'm just coming out to my gate to get on my flight. I think I'm the last one aboard. So.
All right, we won't take you too long. How did it take long to take you get through security?
Oh, at least an hour.
An hour?
A lot of upset people. No, everyone's a bit panicky, being well behaved, but a little bit upset.
We were there last week doing the show, John, on Friday, and because we were there and we'd booked to do the show and it was all organised by the airport, we managed to get through the express lane. But I noticed at the time there were people running around with signs, holding up, airport staff holding up signs for flights that were about to leave, saying, OK, anyone going to Brisbane, come this way. Were they doing that this morning?
Absolutely, yeah. People running. There's probably 20 staff running around trying to organise people. It was pandemonium.
Well, John, we'll let you get your flight, mate. Thank you for...
Is this gate 50? Okay, thank you. Okay, I've just got to get the right gate.
Thank you. No, mate, we don't want you to miss your flight, John. Thank you,
mate. Bon voyage, John.
Safe journey.
Oh, wow.
An hour to get through security.
That is crazy. I don't know why it's happening. And look,
has to be staff, doesn't it?
It must be. We caught up with the airport CEO on Friday, cracking bloke, and clearly, it's an issue that's happening at airports everywhere. But I don't understand it. Like, can't they get the extra staff?
Maybe there's just not enough people.
I mean, there's job shortages at the moment in all sorts of industries.
Yeah, maybe this is what it looks like in the airline industry.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe there's issues with the airlines cancelling flights. What's the kick-on effect? Because we know that there's higher cancellation rates at the moment. Does that mean that airports have fewer people there thinking, well, there's not as many flights, or can they not keep up with the fact that flights are being cancelled? Right?
Something's changed, though. The dynamics changed. We didn't used to have this at Adelaide Airport.
Normally, Adelaide Airport, I used to love everything, because for a couple of years, I used to fly to Sydney every fortnight for work from Adelaide. When I moved back to Adelaide, I still did my old job editing news.com in Sydney, so I'd go there every second week for meetings with all the staff and stay there for 2 nights normally. And the Sydney bit of that trip was the painful bit of the trip. Often you'd get stuck there, you'd leave town in a cab on Elizabeth Street and you get stuck in Redfern thinking, oh, crikey, we're going to get there on time. Then you'd get there and the queues, not often. I reckon Sydney's a better airport than Melbourne. But sometimes you'd get caught, particularly on Fridays, getting out of Sydney was a total pain. But Adelaide Airport was always the peaceful one. But it hasn't been lately.
No, Rob's sent us a good text on 0480 08 1395. Rob says, look on Seek, they're advertising like crazy for these staff. They must be struggling to fill them, so no relief anytime soon. Matt in Salisbury Heights says, my fiancé flew out to Sydney on the red eye yesterday. Security line went outside nearly to the car park. Well, that's the scene we've seen there this morning. It's becoming almost standard. If you turn up for the first flight, you'll be lining up on a nice, cold, crisp morning out towards where you parked your car.
I got to say, and look, I'd love to hear what people think of this, because I know we've all had the COVID dramas over the last 2 years, but I think that there are a lot of people right now who are thinking twice about flying over Christmas. And I've got to say, I'm in that camp. Like, we in part for cost reasons, because we did a family holiday, like all 6 of us, to Sydney for a week during the July break. And that cost a stack of money, just getting there and staying there. And, I mentioned things like Sydney parking, and the cost to go to the aquarium was like $450 for 6 of us. Like, it's just crazy. There's nothing flash about it. It's just what normal Sydney families do. But the idea of going to the airport, particularly with 2 kids under the age of 7 and having to deal with all of this. Like,
doesn't sound like the start of a holiday, does it? Sounds like the start of a nightmare.
Give me a 40-minute drive to Aldinga, thanks. And like the other thing, because of the rental crisis that's happening, we haven't actually been to our house in Aldinga hardly at all this year, because a friend of ours who's just a lovely, lovely lady, good family friend, she moved in January because she's been looking for a house. And we said, look, just stay there rent-free while you look. In January.
10 months ago.
She's got squatters' rights now. She might be the new owner of the house. But she's going to go and stay with the daughters for our summer break, which is very kind of her. And I said, look, leave all your stuff there and move back in after while you still look for a house. But, you know, like, I wouldn't want to be there now. Imagine that's the first day of your holidays and you're there with your kids.
You're trying to wrangle everyone in.
You're trying it though, aren't you?
Yes, David. Yeah, as you said all that.
With little Rosie.
As you said all that, I thought this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, isn't it?
Why don't you just come down to Aldinga for a couple of nights?
I think, is that offer, that rent-free offer up for grabs now?
Well, yep.
Yeah, we're going to try and
set the precedent.
We're going to try and take her away. And based on how she was this morning, good luck to me.
Yes.
Now,
there's plenty to do down south.
We have Rowies Ride to Rusden and another terrific raffle prize to give away this morning. We repeat the offer that we made to you yesterday, and we'll do that all this week. You make a donation between 6 and 9 during our show to Rowies Ride to Rusden, where he's raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, then you will win. You're in the running to win a prize. Today's prize, well, there are 2 of them. The first one is 4 tickets, VIP tickets, to the first day of the Adelaide test.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The second prize is 4 tickets VIP to day 2 of the Adelaide test.
Oh, wow.
So if you make it any donation over the course of the next 3 hours to Rowies Ride to Rusden, this wonderful cause for Make-A-Wish, who he's been working with for now 30 years, then you will be in the running to win tickets to go see the test. And I tell you, the other end of the stress spectrum is sitting at Adelaide Oval on a 32-degree day for 6 hours, occasionally drifting off.
Oh, yeah.
Just relaxing, listening to the crack of the ball, the gentle applause occasionally. There's nothing more relaxing than Test cricket.
Totally agree. It's one of the great things, and there is no better place in the world to watch it than the Adelaide Oval. Like that's. I know we sometimes, you know, lay it on with a trowel here in Adelaide about things that apparently make us great. Like the old Keith Conlon State Bank had wide streets. That's never excited me that much. And there's other cities that have got wide streets. In fact, there's other cities that have got wider streets.
I know. We don't like to talk about it.
Well, what about the old Champs de Elysee?
Yeah.
How'd they go with that
wide.
list? No, no, non.
Because there's no
C'est terrible. Champs Elysee.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean Elysian Fields? Aren't Elysian Fields the place in heaven where dead philosophers go?
No, this is news to me. Phil on the text line says,
is it Sam just in there going, what's he talking about now?
Fellas, maybe like many other industries, the airport staff are all working from home. Yeah, that'd be problematic if your job is working on the security line, I guess. 8223 0000 0480 1395. These are the ways to get in touch with us, or jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream.
How would you work at home if you're an airport security guard? Just walk around the house randomly looking for people to frisk?
Wanding people.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is the random test.
I'll
only take a second.
Just before you put the silo bin out, can I just get you to walk through this rudimentary rectangle that I've put up in the spare room?
15 after 6.
The St John Christmas Home Lottery is closing soon, and it's the last week of weekly prize draws. You could win $200,000 right before SA's biggest grand prize winner is revealed. Get your tickets at stjohnlottery.com.au before midnight Sunday to win. Plus, your tickets also go in the running to win the $5 million grand prize next week of 2 luxury homes and $1 million cash. Licence number M14265.
Don't just give them a present. Give them a pastime, a project, a passion. This Christmas, give something bigger. Officeworks. Make bigger things happen.
As we get older, we all want to enjoy healthy, independent lives in our own homes for as long as possible.
Well, did you know that Southern Cross Care provide in-home nursing 7 days a week? Their professional, qualified nurses can meet your individual needs with tailored services such as medication management, wound care, home hospital services, nurse counselling, referrals and case conferencing, and it's all in the privacy and comfort of your own home.
Plus, there's no setup or exit fees with Southern Cross Care home care services. That'll give you extra peace of mind. Their full-service approach is wonderfully simple. High-quality services tailored to individual needs with no need to worry about coordinating services, budgets, suppliers or paperwork.
So to find out more, visit southerncrosscare.com.au or call 1800 852 772.
Hey Strikers fans, TK here. Don't miss a minute of BBL action this summer. Remember these dates. Wednesday, December the 14th, our season opener against the Sydney Sixers at Adelaide Oval. Also, my birthday. Next up, it's the big one, December 31st. Adelaide's biggest New Year's Eve party returns to Adelaide Oval. You're all invited, but get your tickets quick as they're selling fast. For tickets to all BBL matches, visit adelaidestrikers.com.au and I'll see you back at Adelaide Oval this summer.
There's taste bud titillations, decadent desires, and the presidential hamper. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth, and they're just 3 of the mouth-watering Christmas gifts we make for you at Charlesworth Nuts. With 100 different gifts, from just $10 to $250, there is literally something for everyone. They're all beautifully handmade, they look stunning, and they're filled with the most amazing products. 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
For more than 10 years, Brenton Raglas and Kate Collins have brought you all the big stories on 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
18 after 6 news headlines in a moment. Sam Daddo's in the studio. Morning, Sam.
Morning, guys. We just got another update from John on the text line.
Has he found his gate?
He said, sorry, I was in a rush, guys. Just made my flight. It's pandemonium. Don't often see elderly women dropping the F-bomb at Port Airport staff.
Oh, wow. Oh, dear. Has it gotten that bad?
So that's the scene at the airport this morning.
Thank you, Sam. The very fabric of society has been torn away.
Octogenarian ladies telling the airport to lift its effing game. This is what we've all been reduced to.
News headlines on this Tuesday morning. Flood-affected Riverland residents will be able to seek government support from today. An emergency relief centre will open in Berry from 9 this morning, operating till 3 p.m, 7 days a week. A second centre in Mannum will open by the end of the week and a third in Murray Bridge next week.
Police, the figures on this are just extraordinary. So we're only a couple of days away from the start of the flooding in the first town, which is Renmark. And then it's just going to be like this cascading story that's going to go on for weeks. It's going to be extraordinary.
We got sent a message a little bit earlier, actually, about the flood marker in Renmark that, as I look at it right now, the 1993 river marker's been removed. The next marker is 1974. 1974, 17, and then 31 are all sort of in range at the moment. The police have dismantled a drug super cartel controlling a third of Europe's cocaine trade. 49 people across several countries have been arrested, including 6 top suspects in Dubai. 30 tonnes of drugs have been seized by law enforcement over the course of the investigations. 500,000 people are expected to visit the Riverbank Christmas display over the next month. The lights are now on from 3 p.m. to midnight every day, and City of West Torrens Mayor Michael Coxon says all our favourites will be there.
The toy stack that has got the ballerina at the top and all the little treasures that are on that roundabout. You can expect Santa and the reindeers, and you can expect Snow White and the 7 dwarves.
This is one of the most mystifying COVID cancellations, I reckon, of the last 2 years. It was last year it got cancelled.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. Like, it doesn't feel like it's only a year ago that this state, right now, when we were doing the show at the end of November, start of December last year, the number one issue everyone was arguing about was whether the border should reopen. It feels like it's
mind-boggling.
so
It feels
long
like
ago.
5 years ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's less than 12 months ago.
16-year-olds can now become licensed swimming teachers in order to address a nationwide shortage of instructors. Australian Swim Chief Executive Brad Lowe is concerned some children have missed out on learning vital water safety skills due to interruptions during the pandemic. He says a lower teaching age will appeal to the many teenagers eager to be involved in the industry.
We do find a lot of young people look at being a teacher of swimming and water safety as a preferred job, particularly while they're at high school or putting themselves through university.
Maybe they can also teach them how to become airport security staff too.
Lower the age.
You need two things for this job. You need to be able to do the breaststroke and be very good at paddling people as they walk through the X-ray machine.
Rock music returns to the Adelaide Oval tonight. Guns N' Roses are playing the venue for the second time in 5 years. They'll be on stage at 7 p.m. That's a very reasonable hour for the main act to be on, isn't it?
7 p.m. Axel's getting on a bit.
Yeah.
Slash. He's not the strapping youngster he once was. Is he straddling? Is he still in the band? Is he? I think he is. But Axel, he famously did a show a couple of years ago in a wheelchair, proving that
Can't stop the music.
You can't stop the music. Well, you know what you can stop? Christmas carols. How's this? So my son's school, an email went home, and I don't know, maybe I haven't fully signed up to the school spirit, but I just laughed like mad when I read it. So there's a tradition at my son's school of having a carols night at St. Peter's Cathedral. It's meant to be tonight.
Yeah.
And the email went out that, with some regret, the traditional carols night will not be proceeding on account of a concert over the road by a band called Guns N' Roses. So imagine that you got the massed choristers from the Anglican Church up there, pa-dum-pa-pum-pum, and in the background, no. Whoa!
I think that'd be a nice contrast.
Well, it was a very Adelaide thing. It reminded me of the great Ennio Morricone clash.
Mm-hmm.
Remember
That's
when
right.
it was playing The Good, the Bad and the Ugly?
Well, during the V8s.
The V8s were on the other side of town. So no carols tonight at St. Peter's.
And our daily update about the fact that language now has no meaning. The World Health Organisation will start referring to monkeypox as Mpox.
A bit like the Hanson song.
Mpox.
Mpox.
That's because they're phasing out the original name. The move prompted by concerns over racist and stigmatising language. It came from monkeys. Actual monkeys.
Have monkeys been reading the paper and getting upset?
I think
they are fiendishly smart creatures.
Monkeys have been... So can you not refer to monkeys as monkeys anymore?
Maybe not. Maybe that's where we'll end up.
What a load of rubbish.
It is absurd, isn't it?
What a load of rubbish.
Can you still say, lemur or mandrill? Or is it even suggesting something monkey-like? Well, maybe the way to get around it is just to refer to the specific type of monkey.
The specific genus.
But then there's monkeys that are got monkey in there. Like spider monkey.
Nope.
Proboscis monkey.
Nope.
I'll tell you what, setting aside the monkey connotation, maybe the old proboscis monkey, a lot of people out there with, really big noses, pretty upset that there's a monkey
deeply offensive
named specifically after the size of its hooter.
Yeah.
Schnoz.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're forming a group. Don't worry, we're going to make some changes.
What do you mean we?
We are people with big noses.
I wasn't talking about you, mate.
We're going to get together and get something changed with this.
Who at yours then, Goliath, big brother?
Hate speech. Top of 21 today, 24 tomorrow, 27 Thursday, 29 Friday, 33 on Saturday, 30 on Sunday. There's no caveats, there's no buts, there's no look out for this. It's all just nice, which is the kind of weather forecast we like. Tommy Wren's in the studio with us. All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Big night at the draft last night, fellas. And the Crows, they've got their first father-son selection, Max Michaelani. So
turned out to be a first-round pick.
Yeah, first-round pick.
Surprising?
Not that surprising, is it, Will, that it was Sydney who matched the bid?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a bit of a Jordan Dawson hangover there?
Yeah, they were settling scores left, right and centre, Sydney.
Weren't
they did it with GWS as well.
What doesn't Jimmy Rowe count? Or was he just drafted? He wasn't under the father-son rule?
No, it wasn't under the father-son. Rowe didn't get to the 100 games or have the qualification with Norwood before that.
Okay.
So, he was a father-son, in the sense.
But that's not how he got the spot.
But that's not how he got the spot.
Yeah,
he was just picked up by the Crows.
So who's this kid's dad?
Great question. I'm not sure what the old man's first name is, to be honest, but he played at Norwood. I'll Google that quickly.
Oh, so it's a Norwood.
It's not a Crows connection.
Yeah, it's not a Crows connection.
They changed the rule. It's he played 200 plus games for Norwood, which qualifies.
Remember, we
him for the
missed out
Crows.
on Bryce Gibbs, or the Crows missed out on Bryce Gibbs because of the. He only played 190 in that period, that weird period where.
Right.
And that was one of the stipulations, even though he did end up playing more than 200 games for Glenelg, but he didn't get enough in the dedicated period or whatever it was.
Yeah,
so
right. Jim McElhaney, 211 games.
211.
Yep.
Qualifies. So that's great for Adelaide. But like you said, he ends up getting there, as their first father-son and as a first-round selection. So Port Adelaide will get a crack tonight. Aaron Cadman goes at pick 1 last night, which is good for GWS.
Oh, can we just quickly, Matthias Philippou, young South Australian.
Pick 10.
Pick 10. Spoke a lot in the build-up about, I want to play for a big Melbourne club and get to play in front of the big crowds. Drafted by St Kilda. So...
Yeah.
Not quite what he was aiming for.
He got to Melbourne, but not...
Yeah.
Well, if they get back to the heady days of,
club with great history,
Harvey and Rewald,
right,
they might start getting the crowds
I think
again.
he thought he was going to Essendon at 4.
And he's got a bit of spunk about him, which I love.
Yeah.
I wonder how that'll go with Ross Lyon.
Be very interesting.
I think Ross has changed, to be fair, but
very interesting.
I think Ross is still the boss and will be pretty old school.
I think you're right.
What about his older teammates too?
Well, exactly. Yeah, but you know what? That's the generation now, isn't it? A bit more spunk, a bit more. Go get them.
Well, until they get told that they're not performing well, and then they have a bit of a sook, and then the coach gets sacked.
David, careful. What about the World Cup? How good was that overnight?
Oh, Cameroon!
Unbelievable.
What a game! Did you watch the whole thing?
Unbelievable.
Poor old Serbia.
What was Serbia doing?
There'll be a lot of Serbian Aussie listeners here in Adelaide who will be crying into their chivapchis last night watching that one.
And I play indoor soccer against some Serbian boys most weeks, and they'll be shattered.
They blew it though, Serbia.
Didn't they?
They lost concentration for 5 minutes.
Yep. And they were trying to play the offside trap, but they weren't all on the same page.
What about the third goal by Cameroon? Where even the striker thought he was offside.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. And it was ridiculous. A great game for the neutral, for like you and I to be able to watch it. But
well, they were 3-1 down. Yep. With half an hour to go, and Serbia looked like they had the 3 points in the bag. It was amazing. Cameroon have got a history of causing great World Cup upsets.
Yeah, and they're good to watch. They play with a flair, don't they? And it was a good night for the African nations because Ghana, it was another brilliant game, 3-2 against South Korea.
Yeah.
That was outstanding. And then Brazil, as we expect. They left it late, but they beat Switzerland 1-0. And at the moment, Portugal up against Uruguay, and it's 0-0 in that match. So we'll keep an eye on that for the final 45 minutes or so.
Two of the powerhouse teams.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing. Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
When you're selling your home, every wall is an opportunity to make buyers fall in love. Enrich your walls with stunning Indigenous artwork from Art by FIVEAA. Help your home sell for optimum price. All artwork is ethically sourced, directly supporting Indigenous artists and communities. See what catches your eye inside one of Adelaide's largest range of Indigenous paintings and prints. Art by FIVEAA, a family company specialising in Indigenous art. 1070 South Road, Edwardstown.
G'day, Jim. How was your stay in the all-new Riverview Villa at the Berry Hotel?
Oh, Pete, it was very nice.
Berry? Do you mean very, mate?
No, I mean very nice. The Berry Hotel's all-new villas have very comfy beds, very nice waterfront dining, and I played a pretty good round of golf too.
Don't you mean very good round of golf, mate?
Nah, it wasn't that good.
The Berry Hotel, just a couple of hours from Adelaide. It's the very perfect place for your summer getaway. Book now at berryhotel.com.au. These new waterfront villas are booking very fast.
Hi, I'm Lachlan Harvey from Goldsborough Financial Services. A lot of people think that having a financial advisor is about managing money. It can be, but it's so much more than that. It's about having a trusted professional on your team to identify opportunities and help with critical decision making. So much has changed. There's never been a more important time to get financial advice than right now. At Goldsborough, we make that first meeting as easy as possible, whether it's over the phone, via video or in person. Check out goldsborough.com.au for more details. AFSL number 225330.
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's free open home events to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could look forward to. Come along with family and friends. You can explore our communities, inspect our display homes, discover our social activities and chat with our friendly team. With 3 events across Adelaide on the 10th of December, take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Home today. RSVP is essential and COVID-safe practices apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 21 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5 years servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
Flood-affected Riverland residents will be able to seek government support from today. An emergency relief centre will open in Berry at 9 this morning. It will operate till 3 p.m, 7 days a week. A second centre in Mannum will open by the end of the week, and a third in Murray Bridge next week. A man's been arrested after a DNA match linked him to a sexual assault in 1988. Police will allege he abducted a woman at knife point while she was jogging on Torrens Road at Croydon, drove her to a nearby location and sexually assaulted her. Forensic evidence seized at the time has led to the arrest of a 62-year-old from Paralowie. He's been charged with rape and bailed to front court early next year. Airports are preparing for their busiest 5-day period in 3 years. 15,000 flights are scheduled in the lead-up to Christmas, with the majority to operate on the eastern seaboard. Air Services Australia says all efforts are being made to ensure the smooth passage of pre-Christmas flights, despite looming industrial action by airport firefighters. Dr. James Wright, seen on TV and heard on radio for decades, has died at the age of 94. Former colleague and friend Bruce Ferrier says he was loved by many.
We were all pretty well aware that the mighty Merry Medic was eventually going to be winding up his time over the stethoscope. But what a lovely man, and what he achieved in that amazing life of his is really something or other else.
Monkeypox will now be referred to as Mpox. The World Health Organisation will use both names for a year before the original is phased out. There had been concerns over racist language during outbreaks earlier this year. European police claim they've taken down a super cartel of drug trafficking and money laundering. Carrie-Anne Greenbank has more.
Europol says it's been working with law enforcement agencies across Europe and the UAE to bring down what it's calling a super cartel, essentially a multi-country criminal network responsible for large-scale drug trafficking and money laundering. 49 people have been arrested across 6 countries as part of the sting. Europol believes this super cartel was in control of around a third of Europe's cocaine importation.
The Prince and Princess of Wales are getting ready to head stateside for a 3-day visit. William and Kate will fly to Boston tomorrow. Harry and Meghan will also be on the East Coast for an award show, but the couples are not expected to meet up. Not everything is as it seems when it comes to Bob Dylan's autograph. He's publicly apologised for using a machine to duplicate his signature on selected books and artworks since 2019. The machine signings even coming with a letter of authenticity. Dylan says he started using an auto pen after developing vertigo. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Plenty of World Cup action on again this morning, and Brazil has ensured its place in the round of 16 knockout stages following a 1-0 win against Switzerland. Ghana secured a dramatic 3-2 win against South Korea, while Cameroon and Serbia played out a thrilling 3-3 draw. And in the late game, it's 0-0 between Portugal and Uruguay, with that match just entering the second half. Meantime, the Socceroos are staying level-headed heading into Thursday morning's clash against Denmark. Goalscorer Mitch Duke says they enjoyed their victory, but now their focus is on the next match.
We haven't achieved anything yet. We're obviously not out of the group. It was amazing to get that result and get that third win in a World Cup for Australia, but we're not happy and satisfied with that. We want more, and we do believe that we can get out of the group and we can get a result against Denmark.
Yeah, let's hope so. Greater Western Sydney has selected Aaron Cadman with pick number 1 in the AFL draft. The 18-year-old is described as a tough athletic forward who plays a bit like Jeremy Cameron.
It's so special. I never in a million years would I have thought I'd be in this position, and to share it with my family and friends and all these people in the room, it's super special.
And the Crows have used a father-son selection to take Max Michelani with pick 17. The 18-year-old is the son of Jim, who played 211 games at Norwood. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Partly cloudy for your Tuesday, 21. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 24. Thursday, sunny and 27. And then sunny and 29 on Friday. Right now, it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
25 to 7, Rowi's ride to Rusden, not too far away. Get behind the folks on the North Point Toyota Rowi's ride to Rusden for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. How about this? Ace at Curry's have chipped in $400. If you want to support Make-A-Wish Foundation and the North Point Turtle Rowies Ride to Rusden, head to Google, just search Rowies Ride to Rusden, and we will make this pledge to you. Every donation that gets made between 6 and 9 a.m. during our program puts you in the running to win a raffle prize, different one every day. 2 prizes today. Day 1, 4 tickets VIP for the Adelaide Test. Day 2, VIP tickets for the Adelaide Test.
I didn't realise until we had Rowie in yesterday that he had a 30-year association with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's terrific. And
he's got some amazing stories that he tells of.
I know. And he wears his heart on his sleeve, Rowie, and some of those kids and what they've been through, it's just terrible. But 102 kilometres, I think, the ride is. Be a pretty good ride. I'd back myself.
It's serious.
I'd probably want to go for a few rides.
100 Ks plus puts it into the serious ride category.
Yeah. But nice knowing that, you know, at the end of it, you get to have a couple of glasses at the Rusden.
Well, do you have to ride back?
Well, that's true. Can you have a designated driver and put the bike
designated rider?
The car, your designated rider.
Then you just have to do a dinky back.
A dinky on the old carrier.
Then we're going to crown some royalty tomorrow here in Adelaide. South Australia's Cherry King or Queen will be crowned following an auction that kicks off the South Australian cherry season, with all money raised set to go to the Leukemia Foundation. Penny Reid from the SA Produce Market joins us. Morning to you, Penny.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, Penny. How's life at you at Paraka? You're the main wholesale market, yeah?
Yeah, we're the wholesale market out here in Paraka. We've been trading since 4 o'clock this morning. The boys have been here since midday, and I've been here for a couple of hours already this morning.
You must work crazy. You must work hours that are worse than ours working out there.
Yeah, it is a different lifestyle. A lot of people don't know what goes on out here, but this is, essentially the wholesale hub and key supply chain for fruit and vegetables in South Australia. So someone has to keep it moving.
Knowing a bit about fruit and veg, most of the greengrocers, they get there, about 3 a.m.?
Yeah, the greengrocers can start trading at 4 a.m. So all of the wholesalers and all the growers that are here, they come and set up around midday. Trucks start rolling in from the local fruit and veg stores around 3:30. 4 o'clock they start trading and getting all their stocks. And a lot of them are out of here by 5:30 in the morning, back to their shops so that they can get fresh produce on the shelves that morning.
Yeah. How's cherry season shaping up with all the weather weirdness and whatnot we've been having?
Well, it's not fantastic. A lot of the lines this year are not doing very well. The strawberries haven't done very well in the Adelaide Hills, and the cherries have struggled as well. We really do need some sunshine. But it is cherry season. We have started to see some cherries come through from the Riverland, and we do have fruit on the tree that we expect to be picked by Christmas time. So we're proceeding with our annual cherry auction just to let people know that South Australian cherries are being grown, and when you do see them on the shelves, we are definitely going to want you to buy them and support our cherry growers because they have not had a great trot.
We always associate cherries with Christmas, Penny. Do you need to do a bit of a marketing rethink over the coming few weeks and try to get the message out that unlike lamb, which has got the jump for January 26, maybe Australia Day should be all about buying a box of cherries?
Well, that very well may be. We were delayed last year and we didn't see the bulk of the cherries come through until around Christmas time. And look, we're really going to be the same this year. So yes, we will be putting lots of recipe inspirations and encouraging you all to have January cherries, that's for sure.
So last year the cherry auction went for $50,000. Was that high or low? Was that around the mark that you'd expect to get tomorrow?
Yeah, it's around about the mark that we're looking at. We're supporting the Leukemia Foundation tomorrow, so 100% of those proceeds will be going to that charity, which is a fantastic cause. So we are hoping for at least 50,000. There's always a bit of competition amongst the cherry kings or queens, if we happen to get a cherry queen, to have that kind of title. We have seen the cherry auction used to run at a ball that was run for many, many years here in Adelaide. We only brought the auction back to the South Australian produce markets. This is only the third year. But previous cherry boxes have gone for in excess of 100,000. So who knows what we're going to get tomorrow. Yeah.
$100,000, that's incredible. Hey,
it is. It's amazing. Very generous community out here, and they all get together and get behind things like this. And we, really love supporting those children's charities.
Just before we let you go, Penny, have you got a go-to cherry recipe? What's your favourite thing to do with cherries apart from just eat them straight out of the box?
Well, our brand ambassador is Callum Hahn, and he's coming in to cook up a cherry tiramisu with the cherries that are sold at auction. So it's going to be Adelaide's most expensive cherry dessert going around on Wednesday morning, and I'm definitely going to try that one.
That sounds delicious. Good stuff. Penny Reid from the excellent SA Produce Markets. Thanks a lot for that, Penny.
19 minutes to 7. 8223 0000 our number if you want to jump into the conversation this morning. You can text us as well on 0448 08 1395. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, leave a comment there. We'll check traffic for the first time this morning and come back with police and weather in a moment.
Battling high chlorine when you take your pool blanket off? Rather than trapping excess chlorine that concentrates to higher than intended levels, Sunline Australia's innovative AquaVent pool blanket allows for maximum heat gain and retention, while letting excess harmful chlorine escape. Award-winning AquaVent, the world's only breathable solar pool blanket, is proudly Australian-made for creating a healthier swimming environment. Upgrade to an AquaVent today. Visit sunlineaustralia.com.au.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Glenelg reports of a smash on Anzac Highway near the Gordon Street roundabout. West Croydon, traffic lights out of action this morning. Port Road near Garnett Streets and around the east end of the city. Look out for those road closures due to the Adelaide 500. They're affecting Kettleville Terrace, Bartels Road and Hutt Street, amongst others. Does get pretty slow throughout the morning. Cameras on the drive-in today. You'll find those Babbacombe Drive, Moana and Duthie Street at Adelaide. Every time you buy any award-winning coffee at Coles Express, scan your Flybuys card and your 10th coffee is free. Express yourself at Coles Express. T's and C's apply. See colesexpress.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
You gotta love end of year at Southern Mitsubishi and Wayville Mitsubishi. Nothing stops them from giving you the best car buying and servicing experience in Adelaide. Southern Mitsubishi has undergone a major expansion with more used cars in stock than ever, plus same day or next day servicing. And of course, the new Wayville Mitsubishi showroom is just spectacular. Looking for a new Mitsi or an outstanding used vehicle? Head to Wayville and Southern Mitsubishi, driven by Australian Motors.
Meet Mark Palmer, South Australian Vice President of the CFMEU.
So I'm a second generation unionist, so my dad is an old painter and docker. And you know what? I've been on picket lines since I've been knee-high to a grasshopper. 7 years old with the Ansett collapse that happened. My dad was a delegate down there, so I know what grassroots unionism is, and that's founded from the people, not from the bosses. That's founded from the ground up.
We stand stronger together. The CFMEU, a union of opportunity.
The Adelaide Strikers BBL season isn't far away. Back at Adelaide Oval for another action-packed summer, with just 2 weeks until their first home game on Wednesday, 14th of December, when our Adelaide Strikers play the Sydney Sixers. The excitement is building. Rash, Linny, Kez and Trav are all set to light up the summer. Can't wait to see Linny's first six at the Adelaide Oval.
And what about Adelaide's biggest New Year's Eve party? The Adelaide Strikers take on the Melbourne Stars. Surely you can't miss that. It's time for SA to turn blue and get behind its mighty Adelaide Strikers.
Don't miss a moment of the action. Grab the family, your mates, and get your tickets to see the Adelaide Strikers this season. AdelaideStrikers.com.au. Go Strikers.
Get a read on local dining. Get a read on when the sun will be shining. Get a read on today with The Advertiser. And enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
For more than 10 years, Brenton Radless and Kate Collins have brought you all the big stories on 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
15 to 7. Let's talk about the weather, because it's nice to do so at the moment. Jenny Horvat is the senior forecaster on duty with the job of telling us how good it's going to be. Jenny, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will.
So, Jenny, you've been the bearer of bad tidings over the last couple of weeks. We don't hold that against you personally. But
okay, thanks.
We've had shocking weekends and drizzle and storms, but it's looking pretty good for the next week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So if you're going to blame me for the other ones, hopefully you'll give me credit for this one coming up there.
It's all thanks to you.
Okay, so, we've just got to get through a bit of a cloudy start today, but then the sun starts to return and those temperatures on the rise. So we've got our high-pressure system out to the west, still directing a cooler south-southwesterly airstream. So a little bit of cloud around this morning, but we should start to see some sunny breaks later this afternoon. That cloud's kept that minimum temperature a little bit on the mild side. 14 degrees was our minimum at about 20 past 5 this morning. Currently sitting at 14.9 at our West Terrace Night Apira observation site. Aiming for 21 degrees in the city and along the coast, also for Mount Barker, maybe a little bit warmer around our northern suburbs, getting up to 22 this afternoon. And then we'll see a mostly sunny day on Wednesday, aiming for a maximum temperature of 24 degrees after a minimum of 11. And then the sun returns on Thursday, back to sunny conditions and 27. That high pressure system's coming across and pushing those winds around more to the east and northeast as we head towards the weekend. Potentially up to 29 degrees by Friday. And for the weekend, we are looking at a dry weekend. We've got 33 penciled in for Saturday and around 30 degrees on Sunday. We do have a bit of a change moving through Sunday afternoon, but it is going to be a dry change. So we're not really expecting any precipitation, but that temperature coming back down to around 25 degrees for the Monday there following that change.
Good on you, Jenny. Thank you. Jenny Horvat, senior forecaster at the Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior constable Rebecca Stokes on the line. Rebecca, a drunk driver's been pulled over in the wrong driveway in the south.
Yes, he actually forgot where he lived last night. It was about 5:15. Police were called to Lovelock Drive after a resident reported that a man driving a Subaru had parked in his Noarlunga Downs driveway. The man got out of the car and tried to enter the house. The resident recognised
Hi, honey,
the man
I'm home.
Yeah, he recognised him as someone who lived in the area, but suspected the man was intoxicated and had parked at the wrong address. So police were called and breath tested the driver. He's a 55-year-old local man. He does just live down the street. He allegedly returned a positive result of 0.269 over 5 times the legal limit. So he's been reported for drink driving and lost his licence on the spot for 12 months, and his car's been impounded for 28 days. Just a case of mistaken identity there.
Yeah, I'll say. Geez, that's quite a big day. What a rat bag.
It's a very high rating.
It certainly is. Rebecca, also, a chap has been caught with methamphetamine in Oaklands Park.
Yeah, this is a really good proactive arrest from our southern patrols last night. They were patrolling the Oaklands Park area about 12:45am this morning and stopped and spoke to 2 men in a parked car at the rear of business premises in Millen Street at Oaklands Park. The passenger of the car is a 39-year-old Noarlunga Downs man. He was found to be breaching his curfew, which was a condition of his bail. So he was arrested for breach of bail, and then when he was searched, he was subsequently found to be in possession of approximately 4 grams of methamphetamine and multiple driver's licences not belonging to him. He was being charged with breach of bail, possessing a controlled drug and unlawful possession, and he'll appear in court at a later date. So just a good result there, checking up on people who are out doing the wrong thing.
Good stuff. Great work by SAPOL. Good on you, Rebecca. Rebecca Stokes, Senior Constable with the SA Police Service.
12 to 7, coming up a little bit later. Phil Curry will join us. We'll talk about what's going on in the nation's capital politics-wise. And then a little bit later today, have it, this Jimmy Barnes, who's in town, of course, for the FIVEAA Adelaide 500 this week, where he's performing on Saturday, will be on 5AA Breakfast after 8:30 this morning.
The concerts over the weekend are going to be sensational. The Indigenous rapper who cleaned up at the Arias over the weekend, Baker Boy, he's the headline act on Friday. Friday's got a bit more of a local sort of grungy element with some local bands playing too. I actually reckon a lot of people, particularly a lot of our listeners, I reckon they'd be almost more excited about Saturday night's gig than Sunday night's gig. Sunday night's gig is the big one, the Killers, which I reckon for people sort of 50 and under, they're probably, their breakthrough album Hot Fuss that came out about 20 years ago now. Geez, it only feels like yesterday. That's the one with Mr. Brightside and Smile Like You Mean It and all that on it. But Saturday night, Barnsey, Icehouse and Noiseworks. That's a cracking Aussie lineup, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be massive.
I mean, I love Icehouse. We had Ivor Davies on the show last year.
Yeah, we did.
I love that interview. But that song We Can Get Together is just stunningly good. But here in Great Southern Land, down there, it's going to be a nice balmy night. I reckon a lot of people are just going to be there for the rock.
20 on Saturday, 33 is the forecast, with winds 15 to 20 k's an hour, which is as low as they forecast them before, just calling it light winds.
Hey,
there could not be better weather for it.
Did you do schoolies, Will?
Yes.
You did?
Yep.
What do you think of it?
Oh, we had a good time.
I was thinking, your alma mater, Emmanuel. What about, you see those 3 students you got in strife for?
Yeah. It's not just those 3 students. It was pretty much the entire year level.
All had those tops made.
And so does every other school down there. It seems to be the new thing. You get custom T-shirts printed.
Where you desecrate your school crest and logo by putting totally effed on it.
You know what?
Like that.
I actually found it hilarious.
See, I was going to go full Jeremy Corbell on
Do
this
it.
one.
Go for it.
Well, the
Go
young
for it.
people of today.
Go for it.
Oh, no, I thought it showed a lack of respect to the school. I mean, if the school's been kind enough.
Kind enough? What, for $30,000 a year? I think they can do whatever the hell they want. They didn't break the law. They had a bit of fun.
You don't think it shows disrespect to the school?
No.
I reckon it does.
What have they done wrong for the last 5 years representing the school? Then they've gone away to have a bit of fun for a couple of days. If the first thing we're reporting on based at schoolies this year is offensive T-shirts, then I think behaviour has come a hell of a long way. You know what? The biggest loser.
The cops said it was a good school. They said there was one bloke. They arrested one bloke. And he was in his
41 years old. That's
the
the biggest loser of the lot.
Yeah,
a 41-year-old trying to pick fights with a bunch of schoolies.
We didn't have a school uniform at my school, so there was nothing to desecrate. What are you going to do? Just chop up your own casual clothes? Start writing swear words on your own T-shirt that you bought at the Marion Shopping Centre? Yeah, okay. Well, I wonder what the listeners think.
Yeah, let us know. As always, we love hearing your thoughts. 8223 0000 or 0480 1395. Hero of the week time.
I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong and he's gotta be fast and he's gotta be fresh from the fight.
I guess I better rethink my idea of making him my hero of the week. Sam Daddo's in the studio. Morning to you, Sam.
Morning, guys. What's the old adage, you don't work with children or animals on live TV or radio? Well, my hero of the week, I'm flashing...
What are you calling us?
Now. I'm flashing back to Friday when you guys were at the airport, and young Jack came on the air with you two.
Oh, yeah.
And he had these wise words to say about the United States.
The only thing is... terrible thing is teenagers can just walk into a school and shoot people.
Yeah, that's... you're right.
That's why this is the safest place.
Yeah, you're right. And that's you really are made for talk radio.
So young Jack there, summing up the United States in about 15 seconds, he's my hero of the week.
Yeah, no, he's a good hero. He was a hero. So many people had reactions to that interview where he told us that the bad thing about the United States was people were going to walk around and shoot people. The good thing was giant pizza, which is sort of, I think, out of the mouths of babes, sort of everyone's takeaway from America.
Yeah, I think that's true. America is like the best and worst country on earth. And for all its unpleasantness, it's got so many awesomely good things as well. One of them being, not just New York-style pizza, but then you've got your Chicago deep dish. They know how to do good junk food, the Yanks. But no, Jake was a revelation.
Jake was sensational. Speaking of the United States and the way things happen there, my hero of the week, it's a very serious story, but I actually thought this was a very funny passive-aggressive element to it. Report out of China from one of the journalists covering the protests that are happening there at the moment. The edict went out from the Chinese Communist Party that no more protests. There's no more chanting about no lockdowns or chanting about no more masks. So at one of these giant demonstrations that's taking place at the moment, everyone started chanting, "We want more lockdowns. Please test us more." In this massive show of defiance, taking literally the advice that they weren't to chant about no more lockdowns anymore. I thought it was spectacular.
There was an amazing story out of the World Cup where, because the government controls the TV stations in China, they've been editing vision from the games after goals are scored, because the immediate thing that the camera operators do is they focus on the crowd. So if Senegal score, you get the entire cheer squad of people painted green, yellow and red. But clearly all of these images are of joyful, maskless people in large numbers hugging each other without any, PPE or anything. They're just out there, as we all should be, having a good time. So the Chinese media has been replacing those images with narrowly framed close-ups of the coaches of the teams, so that people watching in their homes in China don't get to see all these images of maskless people having a good time.
We're going to do a wrap at 7:20 this morning of some of the World Cup weirdness, and that's part of it. There's 3 really weird stories that have happened in the last 24 hours that aren't related to football, but
so
are
what you're saying is
related to the World Cup.
I totally stole your thunder.
No, that's all right. That's all right. That's called breaking at 6:40, 6:55. Lucy, who's your hero?
Morning, mine is Martin Scorsese, if you will.
Oh, really?
Please.
What are you watching now? I watched the other night, Derry Girls. Those nuns.
Derry Girls, Netflix series, about 3 seasons, I reckon, about 18 or 19 episodes. It's set in the 90s, but when the wars between the 2 countries that make up Ireland, the National Republic of Ireland and Ireland, are at war. And legendary filmmaker and director Martin Scorsese is currently watching Derry Girls. Now, Derry Girls is created by a lady by the name of Lisa McGee, a little less known than Martin Scorsese, but she tweeted, "Excuse me while I go and die an actual death," with that video of Martin Scorsese. I actually have a second hero as well, and he'll be pleased with this, Ben Jordan. We'll see you tomorrow at our Fishbank.
Statsman.
Statsman Ben Jordan will see you tomorrow at Fishbank, Thursday rather. He's given us all a friendly reminder that it was this week, 1 year ago, December the 1st, that Jay Weatherall came into 5AA studios and cancelled all our Christmas plans.
I was reflecting on that.
Oh, Typhoid Weatherall, they called him.
Think of this. So this time a year ago, he came in the studio and we all had to live in our houses for a week. Right now, you can have COVID and be in any workplace in the country.
Yeah.
You know,
my son's had COVID for the last week.
Yeah, and that's the totally normal thing.
Although, I will say, we haven't seen my parents. Because my dad has not yet had it, and he's an 80-year-old man with a history of asthma. So we are still tiptoeing around that one very carefully. But, yeah, in terms of, I'm sitting here with you, you didn't say, you're a close contact.
It's just, no, the world has changed so much in just 12 months.
Hey, my quick nomination for Hero of the Week, I'd like to nominate all the kids at Glenunga High to keep the class war theme going for kicking Spooner butt by becoming the #1 school in Napland. Go the public schools!
2 minutes to 7, 5AA News coming up. We'll take you through the stories of the morning next.
Hey Rick, it's Chris from Automasters. Just thought I'd give you a quick rundown on some of the things on the car.
Now you can see what we see.
Just want to show you 2 little things on the CX-5.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake's integrated into the calipers.
See any issue firsthand. How good? Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Don't just give them a present. Give them a pastime, a project, a passion. This Christmas, give something bigger. Officeworks. Make bigger things happen.
Patience really does pay off, especially if you've been holding out for a shiny new Volkswagen Tiguan or Touareg. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens, including the confident and clever Tiguan and the luxurious Touareg with a whopping 3.5-ton towing capacity. Secure a great price and take delivery before Christmas. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
You don't have to head south to taste your way around McLaren Vale. Just head north to your pals. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through the McLaren Vale region all under one roof. Whether you're a weekend sommelier or just know you like reds, talk wine with your pals and they'll introduce you to their best McLaren Vale pals. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake.
AutoCam. Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 21 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5-year servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
A man has been busted with meth at Oaklands Park. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says patrols in the area spoke to 2 men in a parked car at the rear of a business in Millam Street shortly before 1 this morning.
The passenger of the car is a 39-year-old Noarlunga Downs man. He was found to be breaching his curfew, which was a condition of his bail. So he was arrested for breach of bail, and then when he was searched, he was subsequently found to be in possession of approximately 4 grams of methamphetamine and multiple driver's licences not belonging to him.
He's been charged with breach of bail, possess a controlled drug and unlawful possession and will front court in January. A drink driver more than 5 times the limit has forgotten which house he lived in. He parked in the wrong Noarlunga Downs driveway and tried to enter a stranger's home late yesterday. The resident recognised the man as someone who lived in the area and called police. The 55-year-old allegedly returned a positive result of .269. Riverland residents will be able to access emergency funding from today with a relief centre opening in Berry. It will operate from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. 7 days a week. 2 other centres will open in Mannum and Murray Bridge over the next week. Support on offer includes a one-off hardship payment of up to $400 for individuals and $1,000 for families. The Commonwealth has also activated its disaster relief allowance. The public versus private debate regarding schools has reared its head again. Glenunga International High School has emerged as the top-performing secondary school in SA when it comes to NAPLAN test results between 2017 and 2021. It outperforms St Peter's Girls, Wolford and Wilderness. Companies that don't adequately protect customer data could now face a fine of more than $50 million. Laws increasing the penalty for repeated or serious privacy breaches have passed federal parliament, but the new rules won't impact Optus and Medibank. Attorney General Mark Dreyfus has told Today the charges will take into account future breaches.
They're an increase from $2.2 million, which is what the fines are at the moment. And we hope that this will be an incentive for companies to take better care of the personal data of Australians.
We lose track of time when scrolling timelines on social media. That's according to a new study by Curtin University. Lead author Tamsin Mahalingam says the shorter videos or reels on platforms like Instagram and Facebook could impact our attention spans.
Even though it feels like you're doing something for a long time, each new video is sort of a different thing for your brain in that we can't really guess how much time we spent on those apps. It makes it difficult to really monitor how much these algorithms are affecting our attention and things like that.
Fingers crossed the November rain stays away tonight with Guns N' Roses playing Adelaide Oval. The band finally returning to town after the pandemic forced their 2021 tour to be rescheduled. Gates open at 4:30 and the band will be on stage at 7.
And it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Tom will be there in the mosh pit, but in the meantime, he's in the news booth. What's happening in sport?
Yeah, well, let's start with a bit of footy before we get to that mosh pit, Mel. Adelaide has selected its first ever father-son selection at the AFL draft after taking Max Michelani with pick 17 as the first round of draftees was announced last night. Mateus Filippo was the first South Aussie taken at pick 10 by St Kilda. Well, plenty of goals at the World Cup overnight with Cameroon and Serbia playing out a thrilling 3-3 draw. Ghana also won a high-scoring contest 3-2 against South Korea, while Brazil beat Switzerland 1-0. And in the late game, Portugal now leads Uruguay 1-0 with about 20 minutes to play. Let's go to tennis. Australian Open organisers want to festivalise next year's event. Jordan Tunbridge explains.
The Australian Open has a carnival atmosphere compared to the 3 other Grand Slam tennis events, boasting plenty of off-court attractions at Melbourne Park. Tennis Australia boss Craig Tiley is embracing this vibe, vowing to step up the entertainment offering at next year's tournament, which begins on January 16. He's told The Age some people just come for the tennis, but the event has grown on the basis that they have to festivalise the whole experience. As previously announced, there will be a 2-storey beach bar, now the promise of more musical acts and activities for the kids than ever before. In concerning news for fans, a dynamic pricing model will be used for tickets, where the price is adjusted based on demand.
The Australian Test team has been back at training at the WACA ahead of tomorrow's first test against the West Indies at Perth Stadium. The pitch is expected to offer plenty of life for the bowlers. And one game in the NBL overnight with Cairns beating the Sydney Kings 94-88. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Samri. They don't grade cheese, they do great things. Get into it at samri.org.au.
Looking pretty good for the drive-in today. We're accident breakdown free. It's always a good start. However, you'll find some lights out of action at West Croydon, Port Road near Garnett Street. Got closures in the city for the Adelaide 500. That's affecting Decatterville Terrace, Bar Towers Road and East Terrace amongst others. Does get pretty slow throughout the morning. And we've got cameras, Babacombe Drive, Moana and Duthie Streets at Unley. Burbank Homes is offering 50% off your choice of any upgrades. Add the finishing touches to your new home for half price. Search Burbank Homes. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Heading for 21 today, partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow 24, Thursday sunny 27. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time on this Tuesday, you've got an hour and 53 minutes left to make a donation to Rowi's Ride to Rusden, thanks to North Point Toyota for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, where, as we made the commitment yesterday, and we'll be doing this all week, every donation made during our program, which is as simple as Googling Rowi's Ride to Rusden, will put you in the running to win a prize. There are not one but 2 prizes this morning, and the prizes are 4 tickets to the cricket at Adelaide Oval, 4 tickets, VIP tickets on day 1 and 4 on day 2. So,
2 winners.
2 winners.
And such a good cause too, Rowie. Heart the size of Farlap, that bloke. It's absolutely sensational that he does this every year. And he'll be back on the treadly yet again, putting his body on the line on behalf of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So get behind it, folks. We're not eligible. I think today's a really good one to enter, isn't it?
It'd be a terrific one to win.
People would talk. It'd be one of those Anna Vlark stories in the Tizer if you and I won the tickets.
Yeah, why were they there on day 1 and 2?
Radio probe. Hey, getting a bit of feedback on the old text line about Will doing his old school proud by valiantly endorsing the drunken lunatic Emmanuel College Year 12s who went down to Victor desecrating his school wind cheaters. One here, I reckon a heap of, maybe I've just become old, but a lot of people backing Will in. As a fellow former private school kid, I salute you, Will. You've made my day. And one here from our great mate Dougie in Wollonga. How's this? I've been kicked into Anne Moran territory. Hey guys, our kids went twice each to Victor. No problems. Now Will, sounds like David's getting old. Maybe spending too much time in North Adelaide. He's sounding like a bit of a toff.
I don't know if that's possible. 9 after 7. Let's get into some of the stories. We started talking about schools, not in the context of schoolies, but COVID before the break. Noarlunga Downs Primary Prep to 7 is now the latest to be hit by a virus outbreak. A whole heap of students have had COVID, and as a result, there have been some changes made. Last week it was Salisbury Park that classes had to be homeschooled. For the school recorded more than 10 cases of the virus. That's the tipping point, at which point you can reimpose mask mandates for teachers when you get to that 10 positive COVID cases detected. in a period of 1 week, or when 5 or more cases in 5 separate classrooms emerge over a 7-day period. We're seeing a bit of that at the moment. And I think, anecdotally, I'm feeling this wave in the sense that we've got people everywhere at the moment that seem to have COVID again, where I reckon I went 3 months without knowing anyone who had COVID or had an issue with it, but it does feel like it's back a little bit at the moment. And schools are obviously the big issue.
Well, we've had a couple of people at work who've come down with it. But, I mean, people aren't disappearing for the full week anymore, though, either. Like
No,
if
you're disappearing when you feel sick.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Here is the Education Minister, Blair Boyer, speaking to 9 News.
We have one school, which I think from memory is Noarlunga Downs, which is the whole school has been asked to wear masks for, I think it is 2 weeks. We're in a better position than we were. It does put pressure on the system, of course, when you lose staff like that. It does affect students and their learning. So I'm confident with that natural circuit breaker that these summer holidays present will be enough for us to reset. Hopefully we'll then be past this wave and we can start the 2023 school year afresh.
I think this was a good news story out of yesterday. Australia's national terrorism threat level is being lowered from probable to possible. That said, authorities are warning a deadly attack could still happen here in the next 12 months. Here is the head of ASIO.
When ISIL formed its caliphate in the Middle East, significant numbers of Australians were seduced by slick propaganda and false narratives, and that led ASIO to raise the terrorism threat level to probable. Our decision was tragically justified. Since 2014, there have been 11 terrorist attacks on Australian soil, while 21 significant plots have been detected and disrupted. Thankfully, there have been no attacks or major disruptions this year. We keep the terrorism threat level under constant review. There can be no set and forget in security intelligence. After careful consideration and consultation, ASIO is lowering Australia's national terrorism threat level to possible. A decision of this nature is not taken lightly or made casually. The subject matter experts in the National Threat Assessment Centre pore over intelligence and employ structured analytical techniques to test, retest and contest their assumptions. While ASIO considered all of these factors when deciding to lower the terrorism threat level, I can almost guarantee it will need to go up again at some point in the future. But that is no reason to refrain from lowering it now. But it is a reason for ASIO to stay on the case, to continue our counter-terrorism effort, to give Australian people the safety, security and assurance they deserve.
Some stats there that bear repeating. 11 terrorist attacks on Australian soil since 2014 and 21 significant terror plots detected and disrupted.
They're pretty big numbers, aren't they? When you think
they're bigger than I thought.
Yeah, I can't remember all 11 either.
No. If you asked me, I would have thought 4 or 5.
Yeah. Over what period? So that includes like...
since 2014.
So that includes Lint Cafe?
Yes, it does.
And it includes the Pellegrini's restaurant in Melbourne?
Yep, and the guy in his car in Melbourne.
That's right. That's right.
We'd struggle to get to 11 though, wouldn't we?
Yeah, yeah. I thought the other interesting thing the ASIO chief said yesterday was that they're now almost equally concerned by sort of neo-Nazi sovereign citizen type madness as they are by Islamist violence. And you know, certainly with some of the cases that we've been discussing with Sean over the last couple of years, our local courts have been testament to that.
It does mark a nice change, though, and again, changing a threat level is only changing a threat level, but at very least, them having the intelligence that a terror threat is less likely or less imminent is a marked change from probably 6-7 years ago, when it just felt we would come on every morning and be reporting on one from one continent in the world or another, Europe or the United States or various places. Just felt like it was a daily occurrence, and that certainly has changed, not just in the Australian context, but globally. You're going to see some pretty remarkable pictures, I imagine, over the course of the day on television, because an eruption has begun at the world's largest volcano in Hawaii.
Those on the Big Island awoke to more than a dozen earthquakes, the strongest a magnitude 4.2 as Mauna Loa erupted, sending the sky into a brilliant amber colour that we see there. The eruption so far, Alex, contained just to the summit, so we're not yet seeing any lava spew over the caldera. An ashfall advisory is in place for the entire Big Island. The National Weather Service urging Hawaiians to stay indoors today if they do have respiratory conditions.
That's Alison Petrowski on 9. I've never seen an active volcano. I know some people who were on a cruise once and went past an island with an active volcano that was actively erupting at the time. Wonder if any of our listeners have ever seen a volcano erupting in person or been in the vicinity of one.
I think we would have listeners who've been to the one in Vanuatu.
Yes, I think so.
A mate of mine, Nathan Davies, who's an excellent journalist at the Sunday Mail, he went with his family because I was thinking about going, and I said to him after the trip, I said, we didn't get there. I was umming and ahhing about it, but you had to fly to another island, and I said, what was it like in the sort of health and safety stakes? And he just laughed. He said, what are you talking about? Like, this is the country where when we hired a car to drive around the main island of Fate, I asked for 2 baby seats, and when I turned up, there were no baby seats in the car. And I said to the lady, where are the baby seats? And she said, we don't really have baby seats.
But they've got the option for the non-existent baby seats.
Yeah, you can order them. They just don't have them.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she goes, don't you just hold the baby? That's what everyone does here. Like, how, the mother holds the baby, and then the other one, you just sort of put a belt on it or something. Well, okay. So, yeah, the Vanuatu volcano, basically, you can just walk right up to the edge of it.
Unbelievable.
But apparently it is the wildest thing ever, and you can see it at night too.
If you've seen it, or any volcano, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000, or text us on 044808 1395. Sean Turnell has spoken about his experience inside Myanmar prison that he spent 650 days in. He's only just been released, the Australian Economist. You might have noted this story that we've been covering over a significant period of time. Well, he sat down now and been interviewed and spoke with the ABC.
The only human contact was the interrogators who would come into this room at all sorts of odd hours. In fact, I think they deliberately came in the middle of the night, and initially the questions were, I think, just designed to intimidate and demoralise, but then after a while they started to hone in a bit more.
Just quite a harrowing experience.
I was watching that interview at length last night. How would you deal with that mentally? Like, he was locked in a room, no books, no computers, and he sat on a chair on his own when he was in solitary. He did that for 3 months. It just sends you
torture.
A twist.
It's a form of torture, isn't it? Simone's called in. Morning, Simone.
Good morning. How you going?
Yeah,
Good, thanks, Simone. Calling from the cottage garden capital of South Australia there in Colonel Light Gardens.
Yes, that's right. I just was listening to your conversation then, and I thought I'd let you know I've seen Mount Hekla in Iceland erupting.
Wow, what was that like?
Fantastic. It was brilliant. We flew around it in a little light plane, and you could see all the lava spewing out, and it was at night, so it was really beautiful.
Wow. Was it by design, Simone? Was that by accident? Did you go there to see it?
No, I was an exchange student at the time, and we had camps where all the exchange students would get together. And I happened to be flying from my little town where I was staying as an exchange student to Reykjavik. And it started erupting that afternoon. So the pilot diverted the plane so we could all take a look.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
And it was, of course, back in the day where you could actually go up into the cockpit. So I was trying to take photos out the little side passenger window, and they said, no, come up here. So I went up to the cockpit, and they opened up the slidey little window, and I didn't have glass to go through. I could just take the photos out the side of the plane.
How long did you live in Iceland for, Simone?
I was there for a year.
Was that through road trip?
Yeah. No, it was through AFS.
Okay. How'd you go picking up the local language? Can you speak Icelandic?
Jeg taler bara lite isländska. I only speak a very little Icelandic.
Can you say good morning, South Australia? I love you.
God dag, South Australia. Ja, älskar dig.
Ja, älskar dig.
Well, we love your call, Simone. That was terrific. Thank you. Let's get to Simone a 5AA breakfast mug.
Absolutely.
Kawiawa. That was excellent. Thank you. Lucy's in the studio. Morning, Luce.
Morning. Just some extra info on this Mount Hekla. It has a height of 1,491 metres. It is one of Iceland's most active volcanoes. It has had over 20 eruptions occurred in and around the volcano since the year 874. During the Middle Ages, the Icelandic Norse called the volcano the gateway to hell. The Hekla is part of a volcanic ridge which is 40 kilometres long. Now, Hekla is what is known as a stratovolcano, which is also known as a composite volcano. It's a conical volcano built up by many layers of hardened lava and tephra.
Tephra.
You know what the amazing thing is? Lucy didn't have to look any of that up. She's just got an encyclopedic knowledge of every volcano on planet Earth. It's freakish.
I just know,
You're a volcano.
throw your volcanoes at me.
All right. What have you got about Popocatépetl?
Yeah, now can you just P-O-P?
Good on you, Luce.
P-O-P.
19 minutes after 7. We're going to check traffic and talk sport next.
Pretty smooth sailing for the driving today. All the majors around town flowing well. We're accident and breakdown free. You will find some road closures in the city, however, for the Adelaide 500. That's affecting Bartels Road, Hutt Street and East Terrace, amongst others. If you do have to go that way, best advice is to leave early. Good lane closed at Hackney. That's also slowing traffic up this morning. Hackney Road near Richmond Street. Some have got cameras, Duthie Street, Unley and Osmond Terrace at Norwood. Smash your crunchiest cravings with Red Rooster's $5 Crunch Box. 2 pieces of crispy fried chicken and golden chips. Prices vary by region. Get it where you can, while you can. Available till 4 p.m. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Sarah at Salisbury Heights. Hi, Sarah.
I trained as a chef and I worked in fine dining as well as bistros and catering. And I also worked in the catering section of a nursing home, and it was a joke. There was no staff there that were actually trained in cooking.
9 till 12 weekdays.
I was sidelined because all it was about was money, money, money. It just really, really upsets me.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA. Meet Jimmy, a proud South Australian CFMEU member.
The 36-hour week is fantastic, just not knowing you accumulate those 4 hours a week, and every second week you got that Monday to look forward to. That's good for mental health issues too. If you're working in this industry and you're not a part of the union, you pretty much do your own bargaining. To make sure that your employees paying all your benefits is a huge deal, you know.
We stand stronger together. The CFMEU, a union of opportunity.
There's one sign on Duthie Street, Unley, you must see. It's the Kirkbride seafood sign. It changes daily, from fresh crays to Atlantic salmon, King George whiting, garfish and SA King prawns. All sustainably fished and processed on site at Kirkbride Seafood. Not some faraway factory. It's a good sign that you're getting the best you can get, and so close to the city. See what's on the sign today. Kirkbride Seafood, Duthie Street, Unley. kirkbrideseafood.com.au.
Don't just give them a present. Give them a pastime, a project, a passion. This Christmas, give something bigger. Officeworks. Make bigger things happen.
For more than 10 years, Brenton Raglas and Kate Collins have brought you all the big stories on 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
.22 after 7. Let's turn our attention to sport. Terrific chat between Rowie, Timmy G and Bix last night on the sports show, and it was in reaction to our breaking at 8 about the Magic Round and the prospect of games being at Mount Barker. Here's a little bit about what Mark Bickley had to say.
Magic Round, I heard Pembo at Breaking at 8, the 5AA Brekkie, saying that Mount Barker is looming as the regional town for the game.
Yeah, look,
and Barossa might get...
Yeah, I did hear that as well, and he was a little bit upset about it because, as he suggested, part of the pitch from our Premier was around, we'll get people over from Melbourne and they'll get down the Barossa and they'll spend the money down there. My initial thought was, the game at the Barossa, let's pick 2 teams, it might be West Coast and Hawthorn. Yep. Yeah, Bunga goes back and around there. I think the amount of West Coast and Hawthorn fans that get across, let's say there's a capacity of, 7 to 10,000. There's probably, best case scenario, there's maybe 500 of each of those. What I would suggest part of the Magic Round is all about is it's not so much getting down there to watch a game and enjoying the Barossa. If I'm a Collingwood fan, I come across and I watch Collingwood play Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, and then I stay for 4 or 5 extra days and I go to the Barossa or I go to Kangaroo Island. So the game itself, I don't think necessarily has to be in a specific region for that region to benefit. I'm hoping that if we've got 18 teams... They spill out anyway. Yeah, 18 teams coming here, and we say that 1,000 from each of the teams, 1,000 supporters come across. There's 16,000 people in South Australia, hopefully for a week.
Got to say, the idea of Collingwood fans enjoying a quiet afternoon's wine tasting, the funniest thing I've ever heard. But just be stunned to learn that your wine doesn't come in 4-litre cardboard boxes. What's this cellar door?
Yeah.
I've only ever seen one in a drive-through. I wonder when the announcement's going to come. It's been...
Surely it's got to be largely bedded down now, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but we'll do a bit more work on it this week. We should talk to the Barossa Mayor or the local wine industry, because I think they'll be feeling a little bit shortchanged by it. Although, as Bix did say, that the idea of coming to Adelaide for the weekend, you would think for a lot of visitors, including Collingwood fans, I've got a lot of good friends who actually barrack for Collingwood, one of whom's probably listening, I reckon he's about to send me a filthy text. They'll want to get out and do stuff like that.
I would have thought, most definitely. 25 after 7, there has been a bit of World Cup weirdness going on at the moment, and it doesn't really relate to what's happening on the pitch whatsoever. We spoke a little bit earlier in the morning about the version of the World Cup that Chinese viewers are getting is significantly different to that of the rest of the world. It was noticed during a clash between Ghana and South Korea most recently, where Mohamed Kudus scored the winner in the 68th minute, and the broadcast around the world did the typical thing of showing images of fans hugging, then the South Korean fans crying and consoling one another. Now, the fact that they were none of them wearing masks, because that's just largely how the world operates these days. Not China, though. So if you saw the winner being scored in China, you instead saw the managers looking either elated or upset, and any pictures of the fans was largely edited away, because the fear from the Chinese Communist Party is, of course, this is stoking the kind of sentiment that's leading to protests around the country at the moment, seeing the rest of the world able to get on with life without being fearful of getting COVID. That's one thing that's going on at the moment. A few other little tidbits of interest in our World Cup of weirdness today. Iran have called for the US to be kicked out of the competition.
Well, they're playing in a couple of days' time.
They've asked them to be kicked out of the competition because the United States Soccer Federation changed Iran's flag on their social media platform to show support for protesters in Iran. So on their Twitter and their Instagram and all that kind of stuff, they were posting up the table of the group, and they changed the Iran flag. They took out the middle of the flag and just had the green, white and red colours. That's the emblem of the Islamic Republic that typically sits in the middle, and they took it out to sort of say, we're with the people that are against this.
So that would be the official Iranian governing body, which would be government-backed.
The government-backed. You don't know if the Iranian...
Can't they make the same argument against their own team for refusing to sing the national anthem in the opening match?
I don't know what's going to happen to their team. But
this is one of the great grudge matches of all time, though, isn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Iran playing the nation that it likes to refer to as the Great Satan.
Yeah. Bit of heat in that contest, you'd think. Bit of heat in the contest between that I didn't see coming, between Lionel Messi, arguably the greatest in the world, and the arguably greatest pound-for-pound boxer in the world, Mexican boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who said he spotted something after the game in the coverage after Argentina defeated Mexico 2-0, where there are tops on the ground, and Alvarez seems to be of the view that Lionel Messi was treading on a Mexican top disrespectfully, and tweeted this: "Did you see Messi cleaning the floor with our shirt and flag? He better pray to God that I don't find him. Just like I respect Argentina, he has to respect Mexico. I'm not talking about the country as a whole. I'm talking about the bull that Messi pulled." So we've got in Middle and South America, world champion boxers challenging world champion footballers to a fight on the basis of what happened. For Messi's part, most independent observers have said he was clearly absent-mindedly happened to be in the midst of celebrations standing on top of a Mexican top. But it hasn't gone down particularly well in Mexico, that's for sure.
I stand with the Mexicans on this one, Will.
I just love the theatre of the World Cup. Teams getting kicked out, boxers challenging people to fights. Other countries you can't even watch the same vision because it's stuffing up domestic politics. There is no event like it on earth.
That's right. Hey, big commiserations too to any local Uruguayans who are listening. They are in more trouble than the early settlers now. They, after the end, what is almost the end of their second game, they are 2 goals down against Portugal. Portugal having drawn in their first game. Yep, just finished 2-0 to Portugal. So Portugal are looking reasonably good. Uruguay are pretty well stuffed now, I think.
We turn our attention to federal politics next when Phil Curry joins us.
Living in a bushfire risk area means danger is on your doorstep. The new Australian Fire Danger Rating System is your simplified survival tool. Its daily forecast tells you how dangerous a bushfire would be if it broke out, and what you need to do to stay safe on moderate, high, extreme and catastrophic days. The new Australian Fire Danger Rating System. Learn to live by it at cfs.sa.gov.au.
Summer. Will it ever get here? You bet. And when it does, you'll be glad you went to Bob Burns Blinds for 30 to 50% off selected items, including their gorgeous range of curtains and blinds and custom-made zip screen outdoor blinds. No matter what summer throws at your outdoor entertaining area, the team at Bob Burns Blinds has you covered. Literally. Get set for summer now at Bob Burns Blinds with 30 to 50% off selected items. Book your free measure and quote today. bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Toshiba's Whisper Quiet Haori air conditioner comes with an elegant interchangeable fabric cover to match the style of your home. It's smart too, with a built-in Wi-Fi system so you can monitor energy consumption. Hey Google, set the temperature to 22 degrees. Compatible with Google Home Assistant and Amazon Alexa, Haori combines exemplary performance with outstanding reliability and comes with a 7-year warranty. Haori by Toshiba. Call 13-COOL. Feel the change.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 21 today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5-year servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
A drink driver was caught at Noarlunga Downs last night after forgetting where he lived. Police were called to Lovelock Drive after a resident reported a man driving a Subaru had parked in his driveway and was trying to enter the house. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says he suspected the man was drunk.
So police were called and breath tested the driver. He's a 55-year-old local man. He does just live down the street. He allegedly returned a positive result of .269. He's been reported for drink driving and lost his licence on the spot for 12 months and his car's been impounded for 28 days.
A man has been arrested after being caught with meth and multiple driver's licences at Oaklands Park overnight. Police saw 2 men in a parked car at the rear of a business in Millam Street. The passenger, a 39-year-old Noarlunga Downs man, was found to be breaching his curfew. He'll face court today, charged with breach of bail, possessing a controlled drug and unlawful possession. An emergency relief centre will open in Berry today for flood-affected Riverland residents. Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says it will be a one-stop shop for access to support services.
By having the relief centre open, they can come in and get in-person help from the direct agencies who can best help them get a roof back over their heads.
A second centre will open in Mannum at the end of the week and another in Murray Bridge next week. The countdown to the Adelaide 500 continues. The Supercars Transporter Parade will make its way through the city this afternoon. Driver Todd Hazelwood will feature in the parade. Optus and Medibank will not be impacted by new laws that increase the penalty for data breaches. Legislation has passed increasing fines from $2 million to more than $50 million. It's hoped the changes will force companies to ensure they're protecting customer information. Federal Attorney General Mark Dreyfus says the laws won't be retrospective but should prevent future breaches.
We've already seen Telstra just this morning announcing that they are going to increase their data security. That's precisely the kind of response we want to see from corporate Australia looking after the personal data of Australians.
The world's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa, on Hawaii's Big Island, is erupting for the first time in nearly 40 years. Residents were woken by earthquakes and an amber sky as a result, with lava flowing from the crater. A drug cartel believed to be responsible for a third of Europe's cocaine supply has been taken down. Carrie-Anne Greenbank has more.
49 people have been arrested across 6 countries as part of a major drug bust. Europol, working with law enforcement agencies across Europe and the UAE, to take down what it's calling a super cartel, a multi-country criminal network it believes is responsible for large-scale drug trafficking and money laundering. Europol believes this so-called super cartel was in control of around a third of Europe's cocaine importation, the main targets relying on encrypted communication to organise shipments.
And there are tributes today for Dr. James Wright, who's passed away at the age of 94. He was well known for his appearances on The Mike Walsh Show and The Midday Show. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Aaron Cadman is this year's #1 AFL draft pick after being selected by GWS last night. The 195cm key forward comes with big raps, while Brisbane took father-son selection Will Ashcroft with pick 2. Adelaide took Max Michelani with pick 17 after Sydney made a bid for the key defender. Well, Portugal is through to the knockout stages of the World Cup after a 2-0 win against Uruguay this morning. Manchester United star Bruno Fernandes opened the scoring with what appeared to be a cross before coolly converting a penalty to secure all 3 points in stoppage time.
No mistake. Bruno Fernandes does the business for Portugal.
Audio there thanks to SBS. Well, the Test match summer begins tomorrow in Perth, with Australia taking on the West Indies in the first of a 2-test series. It's one player who isn't in the squad who's getting people talking prior to the series. Queensland opening batsman Matt Renshaw's form to start the season has people believing his recall to the Test team isn't far away. Former Australian captain Mark Taylor has told Wide World of Sports Renshaw's 100 for the Prime Minister's 11 came at just the right time.
Absolutely, and that was a timely match for him. And I'm delighted to see him move back to the top of the order as well. I know he's been batting down the order a little bit for Queensland in recent years. Good to see him get back to the top. You've only got to look at that Australian side and where the spots are going to become available very shortly. Usman Khawaja and David Warner, both 36.
And Australian golfing great Curry Webb is eyeing off a 6th Australian Open title this week in Melbourne. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Samri. They don't grade cheese, they do great things. Get into it at samri.org.au.
Look out for a breakdown on the drive-in today at Wingfield. It's on the north-south motorway near Grand Junction Road. Got a few road closures in the city. That's for the Adelaide 500. That's affecting Bartels Road and East Terrace. Leave early if you are heading in that area of the city today. And we're busy at the moment, Marion Road at Bray Street. Look out for cameras, Old Honeypot Road, Port Noarlunga, and Wych Road at Morford Vale. Ampol is proud to support surf lifesaving. Visit a participating Ampol Foodery by December 6 to make a donation. Ampol Foodery, worth a stop. See ampol.com.au for terms. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your AutoMasters technician.
21 and partly cloudy today, mostly sunny tomorrow 24, Thursday sunny 27. Right now it's 15 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 8, Phil Curry in a moment, John Blake before 8 o'clock. If you're down at the airport, give us a buzz, 8223 even if just to tell us that it's all clear, because it was anything but at about 6 o'clock this morning, the line winding out into the causeway. In fact, lining up just about to where the drop-off was, where you pick people up and drop them off road-wise. Here's John at the airport at 6:05.
Oh, at least now, a lot of upset people. No, everyone's a bit panicky, being well-behaved, but a little bit upset. People running. There's probably 20 staff running around trying to organise people. It was pandemonium.
Yeah, so John made his flight, but the delay was significantly longer than you might otherwise expect. If it's cleared up, let us know. If it's still bad, we'd like to hear that too. Let's head off to Canberra and talk federal politics with Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review. Morning to you, Phil.
Morning, fellas.
Hey, Phil, to borrow a line from her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, old Philip Lowe's had a bit of an annus horribilis, hasn't he, with his rates predictions and now his comments about wage growth at a time when he's trousered a $150,000 pay rise in the last couple of years, taking his annual kick to about $1 million. He's not reading the room very well, this bloke, is he?
No, look, you said he's had a horrible year, but not as bad as some of the people who went out and borrowed money based on his confidence, I should say, that interest rates would stay at record lows until 2024. So he's come under a lot of criticism for that. And yesterday he sort of 3 or 4 times said, "I'm really sorry if people listen to me," which is a bit weird because he's the Reserve Bank governor. We don't know. Look, as I've said many times, the Reserve Bank wasn't the only central bank to get the whole COVID thing wrong, but we got it sort of pretty wronger than others, a lot more wrong than others. So, it's not a good look. So, Albanese yesterday said, look, he had confidence in the Reserve Bank governor, but I suspect when Dr. Lowe's term ends, now I think it's about next year, September next year, he won't stick his hand up, and I don't think the governor will reappoint him.
You guys at the Fin Review watch these things closer than anyone. Do you accept that, as Philip Lowe's been saying, inbuilt into that prediction about low interest rates were a host of caveats, and he says it's not his fault if they're not being reported. He was, he said, I'm partly responsible, but I was saying at the same time that, if this happens or that happens, things might change.
Sure, but I don't think at any stage, anyone, if you listen to what he said, even at the start of this year, that you'd expect what's happened since, 7 rate rises, 2.75% in total. Look, there's two things here. If you borrowed a ton of money when the cash rate was at 0.1%, now the lowest in history, and you had no capacity to cope with an increase, then that's silly, right? Whenever you take out a loan, you should always build in a buffer. However, if you took Lowe's advice that, look, I've got 2 years here till the rates start going up, so we might pull back, maybe have a baby or do a renovation or something like that, and you thought you had this grace period, then I think you're fully entitled to be angry. You thought you had 2 years before your rates would go up. So there's legitimacy out there from people. There's always a risk, things are volatile, but they got it pretty wrong.
Is there a bigger lesson in hindsight, perhaps, from all this, Phil? Because the governor, in his qualified defence, he's got the stuff about pay rises. He just looks like a completely tin-eared halfwit with the comments that he's made about that. But in terms of rates, his explanation has been, look, at the time, I was asked about it. We were coming out of this once in 100-year pandemic, and when you compare it back to the Spanish flu, the economic levers that now exist didn't exist the same way that economies are now managed in an open market sort of environment. Maybe the answer is that the RBA governors should provide less of a running commentary on things because the world is such a volatile place. Yeah. And he painted himself into a corner by sort of being asked with this forecast, how do you see this panning out? And it's like, well, hopefully we won't have to put rates up for another year, 2 years. And then people respond like it's the Sermon on the Mount and think, well, that's good, I'll go and get a huge loan.
I think you've got a good point there, Dave, one I've been making around here, that Reserve Bank governors didn't used to say a lot. Yeah. Glenn Stevens, his predecessor, he'd give like one speech a year, and then he'd appear before the House Economics Committee once a year, and then he'd do a big interview with the Financial Review once a year. And that was pretty much all you heard from Stevens, unless he needed to say something. And there's been this sort of trend in recent years to encourage the RBA governor to get out there more and talk more and be more open and explain things to people, which is sort of good in way, but at the same time, every time you give a speech or something or give a press conference, you feel compelled to say something, and that's the problem. I think he's talked too much, as you said, and it's sort of just said too much, and feels compelled to say something every time he stands up, and that's a problem.
It's pretty rare though that you get with an independent bank that you actually get people in politics coming out demanding his sacking, which the National Party and the Greens are now doing.
Oh, the Greens are a bit loopy on the whole thing, but yeah, it's
probably want to replace with a commune or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's right. We've not heard it before, and I guess it's just another consequence of COVID, and just another unprecedented thing.
They'd probably get that bloke from Gardening Australia, that Greek guy with the beard, be the next Reserve Bank governor. Costa, he'd be good.
So we've had 3 Reserve Bank governors in 26 odd years. They don't change that often.
No, they get 5-year terms, and they tend to get rolled over. They tend to get, I think Stevens did 2 terms. Yeah.
The process by which they get replaced, Phil, what is it? And given the nature of the world now, as opposed to say 26 years ago, is it likely to be increasingly political?
Look, I don't know. I mean, they get replaced, but the government of the day chooses the Reserve Bank governor. But once they're chosen, they're a statutory officer. They're independent of government, and you can't tell them what to do or control them. And I'm not even sure. I don't even think you can sack them unless they do something illegal or something like that. But look, I'm sure Jim Chalmers, who's the Treasurer, would probably be thinking already about possible candidates to replace Lowe. I mean, at the same time, you know, the guy's, apart from his interest rate, getting that all wrong, he's not done a terrible job on other things, but it is a difficult job. It's much more difficult, as you've said. There's no guarantee that his successor, who comes in, is going to have an easier time of things. They just may be a bit more judicious about talking all the time. But the Labor will be thinking now about whoever, but they tend not to be political appointments, Reserve Bank governors. You know, they just tend to find the best person for the job because it's such an important job. It is a massively important job, setting policy, monetary policy, and it affects all of us. And they're a huge source of advice for governments, and we tend to hang off their every word. So, yeah, they've not been politicised in the past. I wouldn't think Labor, you know, go down the path and put in your left-wing Larry to replace this guy.
John Secker. Good on you, Phil. Phil Curry.
He's running South Australia, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got too much on at the moment, looking after the local crane sector. Phil Curry, the national political editor from the Australian Financial Review.
16 minutes to 8, so Philip Lowe, Glenn Stevens, Ian McFarlane, the last three Reserve Bank governors we've had dating back to the late 90s.
It's almost like being the test captain.
Pretty much.
You know, it's amazing how many of our listeners have seen volcanoes. Rick in Brompton says, I did a helicopter trip over the Big Island volcano in Hawaii. And Tony from Montague Farm, he's also done the Hawaiian one. Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea had been erupting for 21 years at that point, but the lava was travelling underground and coming out at the coast. We could see the steam, but weren't allowed to get close.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you think back to that absolute tragedy at White Island, and I think that would have prompted a bit of a worldwide rethink along the exact lines that Tony from Montague Farm just outlined.
15 minutes to 8, and not that far away from Christmas, are we? It's the 29th of November today. We've been giving you some ideas with Jane Riley's 12 Days of Christmas each and every day, finding out where Jane Riley's at and giving you ideas for things to get Christmas Day ready, fill the stockings and give gifts to people. Let's have a listen to where Jane Riley is today.
Today I'm with Victoria Braithwaite, the family cook. Victoria, you are passionate about food and family.
Absolutely, Jane. We love nurturing people with our beautiful food, so each meal feels like a warm hug.
How did it all start?
I started actually cooking the meals myself, and we used to bring meals into the schoolyard so parents could collect their kids and dinner at the same time. And from there, it's actually grown to helping older South Australians and people with disability, which is a huge privilege for us.
Now, this is real food. This is sort of food that your mum used to cook. It's beautiful, tasty food and very nutritious.
Absolutely, and every menu item we have is based on a beautiful memory that we have of growing up with our family. So we want that real connection with food and love, made with the best South Australian produce. So all free-range chicken and eggs, grass-fed beef and Australian fish.
Now we're heading in towards the festive season, the 12 days of Christmas. It's a really busy time. So how can the family cook help?
Lots of ways. So you could buy a beautiful gift card for someone that has everything. You might want to get one of Jane's beautiful hampers for your holiday, which you thought of, which I think is amazing. So anyone going on holiday can take a beautiful pack of meals away just to kickstart the holiday period. And also just help with the Christmas rush. So you might be too busy to cook at the moment and just need some extra support.
Where do you deliver across South Australia?
The Barossa down to Victor, Strath and everywhere in between.
And how can people learn more about the family cook?
Jump online, thefamilycook.com.au. We also love talking to people, so they can call us on 7095 2222.
Thank you for putting a big smile on my face today, and Merry Christmas to you and all the staff and your family.
Thanks, Jane, and to you too. Wishing you and your beautiful family a wonderful Christmas.
Now, if you're the first caller through right now on 8223 0055, you can win 10 meals made by the family cook, valued at $169. 8223 0055. First caller through will have 10 meals by the family cook. They sound sensational.
They don't sound sensational. They are sensational. I tried some last week. We had the beef ragu with pappardelle. We had the salmon and dill parcel, and we had some, for the Greek listeners, yemista, which is stuffed capsicums, Greek style. Absolutely superb.
Beautiful.
Tasted exactly like home cooking.
This Christmas, rely on the family cook. Grab a gift card for their delicious food delivery service today. I'm going to check traffic, come back with John Blake shortly.
Look out for a smash this morning at Fulham. It's on Tapley Hill Road near Henley Beach Road, causing a few delays. You get a few delays in the city today with those road closures for the Adelaide 500. Bartels Road, Hutt Street and East Terrace is affected. Leave early if you have to head that way this morning. Busy at the moment, Marion Road at Bray Street. And we've got cameras, Golf Parade, Maslin Beach and Main South Road at Old Noarlunga. The Guzmani Gomez Minis range, mini burritos, bowls, nachos and more. From only $8.70, it's cheaper than cooking at home. Grab your GYG Mini today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Meet John Setkin.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland.
You're watching the 5AA live stream, thanks to Foodland.
The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Designed with ultra-tapered technology which picks up and releases up to 25% more paint. Faster, easier, with no brush marks. Available now at all paint specialists, Monarch Advanced Neo.
The St John Christmas Home Lottery is closing soon and it's the last week of weekly prize draws. You could win $200,000 right before SA's biggest grand prize winner is revealed. Get your tickets at stjohnlottery.com.au before midnight Sunday to win. Plus, your tickets also go in the running to win the $5 million grand prize next week of 2 luxury homes and $1 million cash. Licence number M14265.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Patience really does pay off, especially if you've been holding out for a shiny new Volkswagen Tiguan or Touareg. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens, including the confident and clever Tiguan and the luxurious Touareg with a whopping 3.5-ton towing capacity. Secure a great price and take delivery before Christmas. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 to 8. Congratulations to Jane in Sefton Park, who's won the food packs from My Family Cook this Christmas. Rely on the Family Cook. Grab a gift card for their delicious food delivery service today. We've got more to give away as well. We spoke with Rhonda Birchmore yesterday, coming to town as part of Hairspray the Musical, an all-time classic. We've got 2 doubles to give away to Hairspray the Musical, and we wanted to ask you this morning about your guilty TV pleasure because, David, one of yours wrapped up last night.
Welcome to the surveillance room.
Oh my god, this makes me extremely nervous.
Watching in secret, their adult kids are their matchmakers.
That's my mum, your dad, on Channel 9, wrapping up.
We really got into that at my place. Utterly captivating viewing, and on paper it sounds like the most repellent idea imaginable, where 50 plus sort of divorcees or widowed singles get put on these sort of reality TV style dates with their kids watching in secretly via surveillance cameras in a room. But you know, the thing was, the show was actually kind of touching and nice. Like it had none of the cruelty of some of these, you know, Love Island. I wasn't filthy.
Sure.
It wasn't low rent. There was a bit of frisson, a bit of ooh la la, but nothing too prurient. And I like the term. Have you heard the term seniager?
No.
So it's
like a senior who acts like a teenager.
Yeah, yeah. And like I think, you know, more power to you. If you find yourself, you know, single in your 50s or 60s or even your 70s and you want to, you know, meet someone. I reckon we'd have older listeners who use things like RSVP, maybe even Tinder, to meet people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Like,
Yeah.
why should it be a young person's thing?
Your
Finding a new
guilty
partner?
pleasure TV show, 82230000. Let us know and you could win yourself some tickets to see Hairspray the Musical. Franca and Seaton's called in. Morning to you, Franca.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks,
Are you
Franca.
giggling already, Franca? So that makes you're feeling guilty about what you're about to tell us.
Well, my husband's watching Bondi Rescue, but I'm watching it from the other side of the room, sort of quietly. He doesn't realise.
Can I just cut to the chase, Franca? Are you having a bit of a perv?
Yes.
Franco, you've put yourself in a strong position to win some tickets this morning. We love true confessions. Thank you. Franco, Bondi Rescue. We're going to keep taking calls. We've got a couple of doubles to give away to Hairspray the musical.
See, there's different ways of watching programs. Like, I don't know any of Nigella Lawson's recipes, but I watch her cooking.
8223 Let us know what you make. It have a Franca would feel better. She's got it off her chest.
Yeah,
have a confession there. 8223 Confess your guilty pleasure TV show, and you could win those tickets to Hairspray the musical. And there's going to be 2 winners this morning, so plenty of reasons to call in. While we wait for you to muster the courage to embarrass yourself on live radio, we are going to check in with John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
Okay, take one. Remember, you guys, we want it to sound people-friendly, warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, okay.
And you other blokes, try to stay quiet. Okay, recording.
Meet Troy, a proud South Australian CFMEU member.
It's very diverse. There's a lot of roles you can play within the industry, and it's union power! Union power! Union power!
Guys, hey, got to keep it friendly. Here's the way to do it. Try your best to sound like you're not members of the CFMEU, okay?
Yeah, right. Okay.
And you other blokes, try and stay quiet, will you?
You like Troy? Yeah, thanks.
Take 2, recording.
Meet Troy, a proud South Australian CFMEU member.
It's very diverse. There's a lot of roles you can play within the industry. It doesn't matter where you're from, your background, your heritage, your race, your sexuality, your gender, your union power. Union power!
Guys, all right, listen, just pick it up from your gender.
Gender. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just cut it together later.
Okay.
Recording.
Your sexuality, your gender, whatever you identify with. It's very inclusive. It's diverse. I think it's the most diverse industry out there, to be honest.
Union power!
Oh, come on, guys. Let me get this done. We can go to lunch.
Pick it up from diverse industry.
Okay.
Recording.
The most diverse industry out there, to be honest. It opens up a lot of opportunities for people who might not get an opportunity elsewhere, so you can work your way from the ground up, literally from the ground up.
We stand stronger together. The CFMEU, a union of opportunity and union
power! Union power!
Union power! Union power! Union power! Yeah, leave it with me, fellas. I'm sure I can turn that into a commercial.
Good luck, mate.
Union power! Union power! Union power!
Put that down as a free one for him.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Peter in Para Hills, what's your guilty pleasure TV show?
And good morning, you boys. Now they were both series back to back, and I don't care how many times I watched the repeats. Jag and NCIS.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Bit of
Yeah.
crime. Jag was sort of a naval
loved it.
courtroom, wasn't it?
Yes, loved it, and they had such leading ladies in it.
Yes,
okay.
It was great American series, and especially Jag with David James Elliott and Catherine Bell.
Peter, thank you. I don't know whether to blame Franca or you, David, but this has gone down a path, this
What did I do?
guilty pleasure
I just
discussion.
asked the obvious question.
It's not what show do you like to perv on people on. Look, you know what? Actually, who am I to put a qualification on it?
Exactly.
What is your guilty pleasure TV show? You can win yourself tickets to see Hairspray the musical. 8223 We'll continue to take calls and we'll give away those tickets very shortly. Coming up next, we're going to have breaking at 8 and then a little bit later in the morning. This is exciting. Jimmy Barnes in town for the FIVEAA Adelaide 500, playing on the Saturday night where 33 degrees. 33 degrees is the expected top.
Barley.
Barely a breath of wind. Absolutely ideal conditions. We'll talk to him about coming to town for a car race. I imagine he's got mixed emotions too because he's written songs about Holden and the importance of the car industry. And it's Holden's last hurrah. Matt, good morning.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, mate.
Heartbreak High, the original one, mate.
Oh, now that's excellent. How and when did you get into Heartbreak High?
Well, when I was at school, I first I've obviously seen it, and then I've seen it. It was on Netflix, and I just seen it, and my missus hadn't seen it. And I'm like, you got to watch this, and then we've been watching it. I've probably watched it half a dozen times, I reckon, since I was at school. So,
Mac, that is a magnificent entry, Matt. Thank you. Heartbreak High, the rewatch as an adult. With adult eyes, you see different things. Obviously, we'll take more calls after 8 o'clock. Breaking 8 next.
There's Millionaires Mix, Triple Choc Heaven and Macadamia Magnifique. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth, and they're just 3 of over 100 mouth-watering delights we make for you at Charlesworth Nuts. This year, more than ever, you need to spoil yourself and your guests with the very best and the absolute freshest. And when it comes to nuts, that means Charlesworth. I guarantee you will taste the amazing difference that 80 years of experience brings. 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
Battling high chlorine when you take your pool blanket off? Rather than trapping excess chlorine that concentrates to higher than intended levels, Sunline Australia's innovative Aquavent pool blanket allows for maximum heat gain and retention, while letting excess harmful chlorine escape. Award-winning Aquavent, the world's only breathable solar pool blanket, is proudly Australian-made for creating a healthier swimming environment. Upgrade to an Aquavent today. Visit sunlineaustralia.com.au.
Why haven't you heard of a grand utility vehicle until now? Introducing the 8-seat Kia Carnival. With a bold and modern SUV-inspired design, class-leading tech, and advanced safety features. Don't compromise on space, comfort, and style. We didn't just make an 8-seat family car. We made a grand utility vehicle. Book a test drive and experience the thrill of the Kia Carnival GUV.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
For more than 10 years, Brenton Raglas and Kate Collins have brought you all the big stories on 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 21 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5 years servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
The man has blown 5 times over the legal limit after pulling into the wrong driveway at Noarlunga Downs. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says it happened in Lovelock Drive.
A resident reported that a man driving a Subaru had parked in his Noarlunga Downs driveway. The man got out of the car and tried to enter the house. Suspected the man was intoxicated and had parked at the wrong address.
The 55-year-old who lived nearby was reported for drink driving and lost his licence on the spot for 12 months. His car was towed from the scene and impounded for 28 days. A man will face court after a drug bust at Oaklands Park. Police spotted 2 men in a parked car at the rear of a business in Millam Street shortly before 1 this morning. The 39-year-old Noarlunga Downs man was found with meth and multiple driver's licences. He was also breaching his bail. A man has been arrested after a DNA match linked him to a sexual assault in 1988. Police will allege he abducted a woman at knife point while she was jogging on Torrens Road at Croydon, drove her to a nearby location and sexually assaulted her. Forensic evidence seized at the time has led to the arrest of a 62-year-old from Paralawi. He's been charged with rape and bailed to front court early next year. Flood-affected Riverland residents will be able to seek government support from today. An emergency relief centre will open in Berry at 9 this morning. It will operate till 3 p.m, 7 days a week. A second centre in Mannum will open by the end of the week, and a third in Murray Bridge next week. A volcano in Hawaii has erupted for the first time since the mid-1980s. US correspondent Alison Petrowski reports.
Hawaii's Big Island experienced more than a dozen earthquakes, the strongest a magnitude 4.2, as Mauna Loa, the world's largest active volcano, erupted just before midnight local time. The Hawaii Island Mayor Mitch Roth says so far the eruption is contained to the summit.
We have not had to do any evacuations.
Flights to Hawaii are still operating. An ashfall advisory is in effect for the Big Island, and residents with respiratory conditions have been urged to stay indoors. The last time the volcano erupted was in March 1984, with lava flow coming within a couple of kilometres of the city of Hilo.
There are significant research gaps in the treatment and causes of arthritis, according to a new study. The condition currently receives the lowest level of research funding of all the major chronic health issues, such as cancer or heart disease. Arthritis Australia's Susanna Proudman says more research could be life-changing for the 1.7 million Australians with the condition.
If we could find out better ways to manage some of these forms of arthritis, then maybe we can reduce the costs and use the money in other ways. It also might even improve the way we manage some of these conditions if we were able to perform research.
Adelaide Oval will swap sport for rock and roll tonight. American band Guns N' Roses are in town. Fans can expect to hear all the big hits like November Rain and the song that started it all. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The first round of the AFL draft has been held with Adelaide forced to use its points to land its first ever father-son selection, with Max Michelani taken at pick 17. The 18-year-old defender is the son of Jim, who played 211 games with Norwood. Mateus Filippo was taken as the highest South Australian with pick 10 by St Kilda. The 17-year-old midfielder telling Fox Footy he's excited to work under coach Ross Lyon.
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. I'm so excited. Growing up, we always used to say, Ross Lyon's got the Dockers in shape. So it's pretty funny to now be coached by him. But yeah, I'm so excited. Can't wait to learn a lot from him.
Yeah, good stuff. Well done. Key forward Aaron Cadman was taken by GWS with pick number 1. Let's go to soccer, and the World Cup has seen the highest number of goals for a match day, with 14 scored across the 4 matches overnight. South Korea came from 2-0 down to level things up against Ghana before the African nation took the lead again.
Here's Mensah, this is positive. Williams, Kudus! Yes! The Korean joy did not last for long!
Audio there thanks to SBS. Ghana winning that match 3-2, while in other games Cameroon and Serbia played out a thrilling 3-3 draw. Brazil beat Switzerland 1-0, while Portugal took care of Uruguay 2-0. Well, the Aussies and West Indies will train in Perth today ahead of tomorrow's first test to be played at Perth Stadium. The second test will be played here in Adelaide starting on Thursday week. One game in the NBL last night with the Cairns Taipans cementing third spot with a 94-88 point win against the Sydney Kings. And one game in the NFL to wrap up Week 12 later this morning with the Pittsburgh Steelers up against the Indianapolis Colts. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Samri. They don't grade cheese, they do great things. Get into it at samri.org.au.
Got a smash at Fulham to look out for this morning. Taplers Hill Road near Henley Beach Road causing a few delays. Got some road closures in the city for the Adelaide 500, affecting quite a few roads, including Bartels Road and Hutt Street. If you are heading that way, best advice is to leave early. Got a lane closed at Torrens Park, which is slowing things up, Balee Road near Springbank Road. And we've got cameras Aldinga Road, Wollonga, and Stanley Street's Adelaide Rook. Save hours Googling new housing estates. Discover over 4,000 housing estates at OpenLot, plus cashback rewards on offer. Visit openlot.com.au. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
21 for you Tuesday, partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow 24, Thursday sunny 27, Friday sunny 29. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 8, breaking at 8 in just a moment. Jimmy Barnes after 8:30 in town for the Volo Adelaide 500. Tony in Two Wells first, though, has got a confession about a guilty pleasure TV program. Tony, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How you going?
Good thanks, mate. Tony.
Yeah, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I don't know if you want to own up this sort of thing, but have you watched 8 out of 10 Cats, Rachel O'Reilly?
Yes, I've seen that.
Well, there's this lady, she's got a beautiful mind. She was a child genius, and she's a mathematical genius, and it's nothing to do with her perfectly formed body or her cutest face in the world or the fact that I Googled her and she's got the biggest following on Facebook I've ever seen. It's a beautiful
She's very
mind.
Very good at maths, though.
Tony.
She is an astonishing mathematician. That is very funny, that show. The host's terrific.
It's funny how you just envisage a conversation
Jimmy
going
Carr.
about TV shows and just go somewhere else with 5 consecutive callers and their interests. Now,
it's not just the blokes, by the way. Sue in Golden Grove sent through a bit of a racy text saying she likes watching Love Island with the volume turned down. That's one way to watch it. You don't lose brain cells listening to them talk. Rob, getting things back on more of an even keel. His guilty pleasure has always been The Walking Dead.
Could you, like, if we came on and said, we'll give away tickets to Hairspray for your perverted TV interests, no one would have called in, but that's sort of what we got.
We didn't see this one coming.
No, we didn't, but hey, look, that's what it is. You know, you play what's in front of you.
Play the hand you've been dealt.
Exactly. So who gets the Hairspray tickets?
I reckon, let's give it to Franca.
Yeah,
that was a great
Franca gets one.
Franca.
Who gets the other one?
Let's give it to the chap who just rang.
All right, done. Easy as that. Hairspray the musical.
Tony.
Spoke with Rhonda Birchmore yesterday on the program. We'll be in town for it. If you missed that chat, you can catch it on the 5AA Breakfast podcast. Time for Breaking Note.
Well, there's an interesting debate unfolding within the Liberal Party about how the SA Liberals address what is a huge differential in terms of female representation. One of the great success stories for the Malinowskis government when it recorded its landslide win earlier this year was seeing just how many female MPs got up. Now, Chelsea Potter, who's been quite outspoken as a grassroots Liberal Party member, she came out yesterday and there's a piece in the Tiser today saying that the South Australian Liberals have no choice but to implement quotas, gender quotas, to boost the representation of women in Parliament. Now, that's a red rag to a bull to a lot of people in the party, where they, the Liberals pride themselves on being a meritocracy and saying, no, it's may the best man or woman win. The history, and Labor's history shows this, until they actually set up Emily's list, they were finding out that there was a lot of talk within the Labor Party about older blokes making way for young female talent, and everybody agreed in principle. But when push came to shove at the pre-selection level, particularly with most of the people who decide pre-selections back then being, old male union bosses, Kel Surprise, the anointed bloke would end up coming up through the middle. So until Joan Kerner, the former Victorian Premier, set up Emily's list and they said, no, we actually need a rule, nothing was changing, or not enough was changing. Well, the Libs are in that space now. And the key question from all of the discussions around what Chelsea Potter is advocating, it still feels deeply unlikely that the Liberal Party will adopt affirmative action targets, Labor Party style. So the question then becomes, what happens next? Well, talking to people in the party about this, there's a strong view that what needs to occur is that some of the older sort of journeyman male politicians who've been there for a long time, and they don't even necessarily need to be old, need to make way. Now, the two names that keep being touted as likely departures during this term, whether they like it or not, although I think the former Premier's resigned to it, the first one is Stephen Marshall, but the one who seems to be in no real hurry to leave, even though people in the party are saying that they expect that he will, is the member for Unley, David Pisoni. So the plan is, if you've got a few big profile departures of men in what have traditionally been safe seats, even though they're not that safe now, you get a good female candidate in there, and that will help address the balance. And I know that's the view that people like David Spears have taken within the party. That certainly, it's been put to me that that's his position by others. But then the second problem for the Libs becomes what you could call the Bragg conundrum, where at a time earlier this year when the Liberals were under massive scrutiny over gender equality, with Malley, surrounded by women after his big win, you had a situation where David Spears tried to use the authority of his office after Vicky Chapman retired in Bragg to say, clearly, there's an opportunity here for new blood, and my view is that we should pre-select a woman. So what happens next? The Bragg branch, this being the Liberal Party, totally wedded to the idea of being a meritocracy, they give him Jack Batty, a bloke.
Yeah, see, this is where actually having a formal policy of quotas can actually be liberating because it allows you to make strategic decisions. Because the problem with hoping it happens in an arbitrary or ad hoc manner is that, let's say Jack Batty's a crackerjack candidate. Bowl reports he is.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
And they say, well, hang on, this is stupid. This guy's a star.
He's from the area.
But David Spears is saying, rightly in the moment, the politics of this is such that we need another woman in. Because you're just trying to make it up as you go along. If you have a quota in place, you can strategically say, well, these are the seats that are going to come up over this period of time. Let's make sure our star candidates get in. But in the edge cases and others, we're not leaving it to chance. We'll make sure we get a proper we'll get a proper distribution. And I think that's where sometimes people think the quotas are constraining, but it actually can be a little bit liberating because you can actually make smart decisions. You're not going to lose out on your stars due to short-term arbitrary political decisions, but you're going to fix up the problem. And I reckon it's a more constructive way from a strategic party position to actually think about the problem.
It's a bit reminiscent of the great Peter Cook sketch when the war's going badly, and he calls in Dudley Moore and says, we've decided that what we need is a symbolic gesture where someone needs to lay down their life, and unfortunately that person is you.
Yeah.
How do you have that conversation?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. 14 minutes after 8, let's have a look at some of the stories knocking around this morning. This one's extraordinary, and some of we've spoken about on the program before. I've stayed at the property in the Northern Territory. Matt Wright, the Outback Wrangler, is facing a host of charges, including perverting the course of justice, destruction of evidence, fabrication of evidence, interfering with witnesses, unlawful entry, police alleging he visited a pilot who died, one of his co-stars of his TV program, and indeed the Outback experiences he provides. He attempted to have them fabricate evidence. He's released a statement saying he strenuously denies any wrongdoing. The helicopter accident back in February was a tragic accident that claimed the life of a close mate. Here is Miley Hogan speaking on the Sunrise program this morning.
He didn't have anything to say as he entered Sydney Airport today. It's understood that he's been here visiting with his lawyers after that arrest warrant was issued for him from Northern Territory Police. He is on his way to Darwin, where he is expected to hand himself in. He has been given that deadline, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Now, we understand that he will be doing that and that he is likely to also make a bail application at the same time.
You know what's interesting? Remember earlier this year, we had a chat off air with Lucy because I'd watched that Outback Wrangler show and said, this show's unbelievable. Like a lot of our listeners will have seen it. They're out there catching like 4 metre long saltwater crocodiles with ropes. Like, it is mind-blowing television. But I said to Luce, we should try to get this bloke on the show. And we never heard back.
No.
And when we asked, it was not long after this crash happened. So
that's probably why.
I think he's been flying under the radar.
Macquarie Dictionary declared its 2022 word of the year as teal. I think we spoke about this the other day. Teal's been around for more than a century as a word, a colour, but was chosen by the dictionary with regard to its new meaning in the wake of the federal election and what it means politically in Australia now. They also had, and we haven't discussed this, a People's Choice Award.
These days, lots of the takeaway chickens you buy, especially from the supermarket, come in a plastic bag with a handle, and it's just a funny name that's been given to the chicken because it's sort of a one-stop shop for a meal, and it's sort of seen or has been seen in the past to be favoured by a single person.
It's the bachelor bag. The bachelor's handbag.
Bachelor's handbag.
Which I've never heard someone refer to the chicken with the handle as the bachelor's handbag.
I tell you what, you'd be a pretty portly bachelor if you ate an entire chicken on your own.
Lucy's saying, so you think this is commonplace? I've never heard bachelor's handbag for that before.
No, me neither.
Lucy used it twice last week. Maybe it's a younger person's thing.
Yeah, never heard it.
Oh no, Lucy's dad uses it. Well, that's blown that theory out of the water. Maybe it's a term that originated in Clare.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, one of those Clare words.
Yeah, one of the...
What other Clare words are there?
Bachelor's handbag. What other words? I'd love to know what other words or terminology pops up in the modern world that you hear and you go, I have no idea what that means.
I would have thought maybe this is more of a 2020 word or a 2021 word. I love the way with our great fabled capacity for shortening words, like Chrissy. What do you know for Chrissy?
Yep.
I reckon ISO is such a great term.
Yeah. Did ISO ever get a nom?
It should have.
It should have.
They're not calling it ISO in China, are they? Like, there's no. 2020 or last year. Oh no, it did. Yeah, ISO's in the dictionary.
ISO's in.
Oh, I'm in ISO.
It's very Australian, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, where are all the staff? They're in ISO.
We'll try, if there's words or phrases out there you don't understand that are in modern usage, we'll try and demystify them for you on the program this morning. It might not be us, it'll likely be Lucy, especially if it's got a clear origin, and Sam might be able to help out if it's a young person's thing as well. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on 0448 08 1395.
Or if it's a Seaton word.
Or a car racing term,
Yeah.
Sam will be able to help you out.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's excited. Jimmy Barnes is coming up after 8:30. We're excited that in about 32 minutes' time, 42 minutes' time even, we're going to be giving away these incredible tickets to the test at the Adelaide Oval between Australia and the West Indies. We've got VIP tickets, 4 on day 1, 4 on day 2, and everyone who has donated this morning between 6 and 9 o'clock to the North Point Toyota Rowies Ride to Ruston is in the running. You may have made a donation and not even aware you're in the running to win this. We'll stay listening because it could be you when we draw the names out of a hat. You can donate now at rowiesride.com.au. rowiesride.com.au. It's this Saturday that he'll be joined by 20 other cyclists on this extraordinary ride from Hindmarsh Square to Rusden's Winery. So get behind the folks on the North Point Toyota Rowies Ride to Rusden for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We'll check traffic and be back with more in a moment.
At Fulham, look out for a smash on Tapley's Hill Road near Henley Beach Road. Got a few road closures in the city for the Adelaide 500 today. That's affecting many roads, including Bartels Road, Hutt Street and East Terrace. Leave early if you are heading that way. Busy at the moment, Maureen Road at Bray Street with cameras today, Kangaroo Road, McLaren Vale and Osmond Terrace at Norwood. It's Nespresso's Black Friday sale with 15% off the purchase price of all coffee machines and selected accessories. Ends today while stocks last. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everyday low prices, any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food lives here. Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah. Foodland. The mighty South.
You're watching the 5AA live stream thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah.
In for $3. Claim a delicious new deal every day of November, only on the My Maccas app. Value means more at Maccas. See in-app for today's deals.
I work long hours, but when I'm not working, I'm tinkering with my car. It's like my meditation, and that's why I love eBay. Because eBay is home to Australia's widest range of car parts, all at a great price. I got myself a new snorkel for my four-wheel drive the other day. Off-roading is my other meditation. The best bit though, if the part doesn't fit, eBay's got my back with their money-back guarantee. That means I can browse, buy, carefree with eBay's money-back guarantee.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
It's hard to believe, but bi-urban bathrooms and kitchens may not be everyone's cup of tea. If you're not fussed by sticky drawers, if you're not driven mad by something that doesn't quite line up, if you don't appreciate millimetre-perfect craftsmanship and service of the highest standard, then maybe bi-urban bathrooms and kitchens is not for you. But if those things are important, buyurban.com.au, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Get a read on fuel hikes, rate spikes and red carpet delights. Get a read on today with The Advertiser and enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 8, coming up after 8:30 this morning. Jimmy Barnes, looking forward to this.
Barnesy.
FIVEAA Adelaide 500. Saturday night is the night that he'll be playing.
Got a new album out too that we're going to be asking him about.
Christmas. He's finally done a Christmas album.
That one coming.
You didn't see that coming?
Jimmy Barnes. The man 30 years ago staggering around the Largs beer the bottle of Smirnoff in his hand.
It's just quite extraordinary.
That's right.
We've been telling the stories of people, business owners, residents and others in the Riverland in the lead up to the peaks that are expected in the coming weeks. We're getting awfully close to it, actually. If you look at the Riverland, the River S.A. Murray flow report right now, as I look at it, the first spot that water gets measured at is at Lock 6. Renmark immediately follows it. The expected timing of the first peak, and the language is all askew now that we've got two. We shouldn't call them peaks, but the first significant high water-wise will be 175 gigalitres a day coming across the border. That will hit Renmark between the 4th and the 12th of December, so possibly as early as next week, and then it follows at weekly intervals down the river as you go to Berry, 10th to 17th, Loxton, 11th to 18th, Overland Corner, where the pub is, 13th to 19th, Waikerie, 17th to the 24th, and so on and so forth. Alison is an SES volunteer in Glossop who's had 4 stints now volunteering in the Riverland. Alison, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Alison, we love the SES, and it doesn't matter if it's the clean-up the other weekend after the storms and obviously the flood crisis that's now facing so many communities along the river. What does a day in the life of an SES volunteer currently look like?
Well, for me, I'm based in Adelaide, so I guess it could range from the pager going off when you race out the door to, like you said, something in the storm event, or it could be called out to an all-day land search, or asked to come up here to the Riverland to assist with sandbagging or in the incident management team or logistics, so it's quite variable.
So your 4 stints in the Riverland, have they been in the one spot or have you moved around?
I've had one. I started at Blanchetown and then went to Loxton, then another 2 in Loxton and this one at Glossop.
Are you guys, SES-wise, comfortable with the state of readiness there? Does it feel like there's a lot more that needs to be done, or is it pretty good?
I think you get a mixture of people. Some people are look, every single situation is going to be different. You've got people that have been through floods before and probably have a bit more knowledge of what they need to do. You've got people newer to the area that may be a bit more scared. Every single situation is different. So that's why it's good we've got the sandbagging locations we have at the moment. Each member of the public that comes through, we speak to them and speak about their situation and give them the advice they need to help them with their individual situation.
And also, Alison, how does it work with your job? Because I presume you've got a regular job in town. How does it work in terms of getting time off in that?
My workplace is very kind in giving me time to come and volunteer. They are very kind to do that.
That's amazing. So, all this stuff, the volunteers get so much of the credit, and rightly so, but we should also thank the employers who fit in with it and know that, part of the greater good for the community.
I think that's correct. It's the workplaces generally are very nice and understand that there is a quite serious situation up here at the Riverland at the moment. It'd be unusual that I'd be away like 4 times over the last 6 to 8 weeks. But they are very understanding that, the situation is quite serious here, and all volunteer help is all volunteers on deck, really.
So
anyone we can get the help is good.
Presumably you're on standby then for the next month. Do you sort of know where you'd likely be tasked to go to over the course of the expected first hit of water in the first week of December and then at the start of January the 2nd?
Not really, because, we might get a small roster of some people that are regular sort of volunteers, but generally we have to react to where the greatest need is. Like you were seeing the other weekend was the storm. We had to react to that quite quickly and engage people to do that. Like the dam that was going to break down, we had to pull resources to that area. So we don't always get a lot of notice, but I guess that's the reality of an emergency. It's a situation that comes up really quickly, and we have to adapt to the situation, and that's what we get very good at doing with the SES.
Well, good on you, Alison,
Absolutely.
And good on all the SES volunteers, and as I said too, all the businesses around town that understand the importance of the work that you do. Hopefully you don't have too crazy a December. It sounds like you will be out there helping, along with hundreds of other SES volunteers. So thanks for sharing your story this morning, Alison.
No worries at all. Thank you for having me.
28 minutes after 8. 5AA News is coming up in just a moment. Then after 8:30, we're going to be speaking with Jimmy Barnes in town for the FIVEAA Adelaide 500. The concert is going to be absolutely massive. In fact, the whole event's just going to be massive this year. The concert, though, Saturday night, it's going to be something else.
It's so good that the weather is shining favourably on it, maybe suggesting that God himself is a rev head.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Maybe he doesn't like alternative music because he really didn't do the right thing by Harvest Rocks.
Oh, well, people there had a good time. I've seen some videos.
Yeah.
The Rockers couldn't be
It was
kept down.
terrific.
Yeah. All right.
I won't mention it though because Blakey might do another sketch about it.
5AA News coming up back shortly.
Honey, how far away is that barbecue?
Mission update, time is 1300 hours. 4 burners are now operational. Sausages are commencing their final turn. Beer fridge is sitting at 3 degrees. Manual temperature verification. Perfect. Estimated time of food delivery, 6 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Order now and be entertaining next year while the weather is still warm. Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. For appliances, custom concrete benchtops, barbecues and more. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
What are your kids doing this summer?
They're enrolled in backswim.
It's not just swimming lessons, it's water safety.
They learn to keep themselves and others safe.
Never know when you need it.
Visit the VacSwim website today for more information and to enrol.
There's a timeless saying that great wine is made in the vineyard, and no one understands this better than the team behind Vineyard Road, a wine brand created by some of Australia's most experienced viticulturalists with over 30 years' experience growing grapes in vineyards across Australia.
And what a range. The Vineyard Road range includes modern takes on Aussie classics like Shiraz, Cab Sav, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, as well as emerging varieties including Pinot Grigio and Sangiovese.
Quality local wine always makes a fantastic gift as well, and Vineyard Road Sparkling Shiraz is always a hit, especially during a hot summer. Bring a bottle to share and you've won Christmas.
It's the taste of Christmas, I reckon, Sparkling Shiraz, and there's none better than Vineyard Roads. Or if you're looking for something a little different, we heard about this with Jane only the other day, the chocolate and wine pairing experience at their Barossa cellar door is perfect. 2 guilty pleasures rolled into one.
Visit one of Vineyard Road's 3 cellar doors in Barossa Valley, Langhorne Creek in Kent Town, or head to vineyardroad.com.au. Drink responsibly.
For more than 10 years, Brenton Raglas and Kate Collins have brought you all the big stories on 9 News.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 21 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Experience guaranteed driving pleasure at Adelaide BMW with both 5 years servicing and warranty covered. T's and C's apply.
A man has been busted with meth at Oaklands Park. Senior Constable Rebecca Stokes says patrols in the area spoke to 2 men in a parked car at the rear of a business in Millam Street shortly before 1 this morning.
The passenger of the car is a 39-year-old Wagga Downs man. He was found to be breaching his curfew, which was a condition of his bail. So he was arrested for breach of bail, and then when he was searched, he was subsequently found to be in possession of approximately 4 grams of methamphetamine and multiple driver's licences not belonging to him.
He'll front court in January. A drink driver more than 5 times the limit has forgotten which house he lived in. He parked in the wrong Noarlunga Downs driveway and tried to enter a stranger's home late yesterday. The resident recognised the man as someone who lived in the area and called police. The 55-year-old allegedly returned a positive result of .269. Public has trumped private when it comes to NAPLAN test results in SA. Glenunga International High School topping the list as the #1 performing secondary school between 2017 and 2021. The state government will introduce new legislation next year to make industrial manslaughter a criminal offence. Attorney-General Kayam Ma has released the draft bill for consultation.
What the draft legislation allows for is significant penalties, up to 20 years in jail or a $15 million fine for those who run a business who are that grossly negligent that it results in a death of a person as a result of breaches of occupational health and safety regulations.
Queensland, Victoria, WA, the Northern Territory and ACT all have industrial manslaughter laws in place. Telstra has released a new scam-busting tool aimed at blocking hundreds of millions of unwanted text messages. Its estimated incoming scam and unwanted emails are running at a staggering 332 million a month. Telstra's Chief Security Officer, Narelle Devine, says the new technology is a game-changer.
What it does, in simple terms, is it looks at the knowledge of what the scam and unwanted emails look like, and then it blocks them at the network level. So rather than it going into your junk email box and you having to deal with it, and some still will go to junk email, it's actually stripping it out before it even gets to you.
Airports around the country are bracing for the biggest holiday rush in 3 years. Jessica Clancy has more.
The number of people travelling interstate in the lead up to Christmas will be at the highest level since before the pandemic. Around 15,000 flights are scheduled over 5 days. Sydney will be the busiest at more than 4,000 flights. Melbourne comes in second at 3,200 and Brisbane third at 3,200. Air Services Australia Chief Executive Jason Harfield has told The Australian efforts are being made to maintain smooth operations with looming industrial action from baggage handlers and airport firefighters combined with unpredictable weather threatening the running order.
And Catherine Zeta-Jones says playing a female James Bond was a missed opportunity. The actress responding to reports the franchise may opt for a woman as 007 in the future. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
All new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander with 10-year warranty, 10 years capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with the draft. 3 footballers have been recruited via the father-son rule in the first round of last night's AFL draft. And it was an historic night for the Crows as they picked up defender Max Michelani, the son of former Norwood player Jim. It's their first ever father-son selection. Brisbane, meantime, matched North Melbourne's bid at pick 2 for Will Ashcroft, who's the son of triple premiership player Marcus Ashcroft. Lions coach Chris Fagan says he would have played the 18-year-old midfielder this year if he could have, but Ashcroft has told Fox Footy he needs to now earn a debut.
That sounds nice, but there's a lot of work to be done. I think it all sort of resets now. Yeah, got a lot of work to do in the pre-season, and then sort of got to prove myself again and earn the respect of everyone. I'm heading up Wednesday and I'll kick straight into gear, I think.
The Lions also selected midfielder Jasper Fletcher, the son of Adrian, with pick 12. The draft will continue tonight. Let's go to cricket. Former captain Mark Taylor believes the West Indies pace attack could trouble Australia in the first test, which starts on Wednesday in Perth. Taylor's told Wide World of Sports he likes the Windies' fast bowlers, spearheaded by 252-wicket veteran Kemar Roach.
If they can get it right, and that's going to be the key, if they can get the ball in the right areas on the right lengths, then they will trouble the Australian batsmen. And then obviously they've got to make some runs. That's going to be the big key for the West Indies.
And in some World Cup action, Brazil and Portugal are safely through to the knockout stages of the World Cup after securing their second wins of the tournament. Brazil beat Switzerland 1-0 while Portugal took care of Uruguay 2-0. In other matches, Ghana outlasted South Korea 3-2 while Cameroon and Serbia drew 3-3. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Samri. They don't grade cheese, they do great things. Get into it at samri.org.au.
Gillis Plains got a motorcycle and car smash North East Road at St Olds Road. Solid delays at the moment. Fulham, another crash, Tapless Hill Road near Henley Beach Road. While in the city, got a few delays for the Adelaide 500 road closures. They're affecting Decatterville Terrace, Bartels Road and Hutt Street. Leave early if you're heading that way. Got a lane closed at Albert Park, which is slowing things up too. Port Road near Murray Street. And look out for camera, Seaford Road at Seaford. Hurry, the Good Guys Black Friday sale ends tonight. Don't miss the Black Friday deals, including a last chance one-day deal that's just been unlocked. Shop now in store or online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
21 for your Tuesday and partly cloudy, mostly sunny tomorrow, 24, 27 on Thursday. Right now it's 16 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Well, there's a lot of excitement building. David, Adelaide Velo 500 week, of course, on track, but the concert for so many people is just as exciting as the racing action. And exciting too if you're a fan of our next guest, Jimmy Barnes, because he's got his Christmas album out. Jimmy, good morning to you. Welcome to 5AA Breakfast.
How are you guys? How's it going?
We're good, thanks, Jim. Now, mate, as a one of the proudest products of Adelaide's northern suburbs, I'm sure that, you know, deep in your soul, you'd be a bit of a rev head. We, for the life of us here at 5AA, couldn't understand why they got rid of the race in the first place. But how good that you, along with Icehouse and Noiseworks, are going to be up there in lights for the resumption of the race this Saturday.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big day. I mean, I love celebrating in Adelaide like this. At the races like this, it's really good. I think having IVEAA and Icehouse there is really fantastic. And Noiseworks, it's so great that they're back together doing some shows. So we're all going to come out there and blow the place apart. I hope that's the plan.
We've spoken to you before, and I talked about you've written in song about the manufacturing in Holden in Elizabeth,
of course,
the importance
of
the northern suburbs. But you yourself, away from that and the importance of the industry to that part of Adelaide, would you call yourself a car guy?
Well, the thing is, I'd like to be. Over the years, I've had a lot of great cars, but unfortunately, I'm a shocking driver. I mean, I used to have like a '59 Chevy, the 350, fully worked and all that sort of stuff. And it was, and all my mates drove it, and they drove it much better than I did. So, but I had a Ferrari. I've had all these great cars. But I remember. Growing up in Elizabeth and, just wanting a bloody Holden, an EH Holden would have been, I would have been in heaven, and then my mates would have them and they'd spend more money on the cars than they would on their girlfriends. And really the girlfriends had to fight to get a seat in the car because we were all in there anyway. But they didn't get much privacy. But it was as a young fella growing up, you all wanted to have the hot Holden, and lots of my mates did. So it was, besides living in that area and obviously having, having all our mates and our families work in Holdens, how iconic Holden is and still is in this country was as important then as when I was a kid as it is now.
I read a couple of interviews with you recently where you were talking about, it sounds like you're a bit of an electric vehicle enthusiast, or at very least you've been talking about a desire to get one in the future at some point.
Oh, I've got a couple electric cars. I drive a Taycan, an electric Porsche, which is really, really fast, really good. And I like it because I don't have to go to garages and fill up and all that sort of stuff. I think we should all be doing as much as we can. As much as I used to always had big V8s and all that sort of stuff. But they're just gas guzzlers, and we should all be sort of cutting them back a bit now. So when they shut Holdens, I couldn't work out when they shut the Holden factory. I couldn't work out why someone or the government didn't just, let's convert it to make electric cars for Australia, because it's been difficult to get electric cars in this country, and I think the new government's sort of starting to make it easier and they're more accessible because we should all be driving them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jim, now, can you tell us this? I love this story. For the first time ever, you've done a Christmas album, but tell us about how it came about, because this story, and as a dad myself, and Will's just become a dad for the first time, it actually made put a bit of a tingle down my spine, the story about this little surprise that your kids did for you.
Well, the thing is, Christmas has always been a big part of us, but one of the reasons I did it was, as my kids grew up, we wanted our kids not to just think that Christmas is about shopping. We wanted them, to be a time of year when we think about the people we love and we do something from our hearts for them. We make something for them from our hearts, whether it's cook for them or sing to them or the kids were, as they grew up, we had to make presents in our family. That's what we taught the kids and grandkids. And so they'd paint, or they'd make biscuits, or they'd, make frames, or they'd do something, every year we'd all do it. And we'd buy presents as well, of course, but we'd all have to make something. And this one particular year, I guess Mahalia would have been, 12 or something like that, maybe a little younger. But Mahalia and EJ and the kids all got together, and unbeknownst to me, they went downstairs into the garage, and they got their cousins. So, there was a bunch of the cousins there too, and they recorded on a little 4-track recorder this medley of Christmas carols, and it was really beautiful because EJ could play guitar, and Mahalia played a bit of piano, and they all sang, and even the cousins who sang, were really young and they're croaky, and it's like this recording that they made then. If you could sit with all the digital studios in the world now, and you couldn't can make something as beautiful. It's perfectly imperfect, you know. And anyway, I didn't know anything about it. And Christmas Day comes, and there's a house full of presents and people, and everybody's there's a love in the air and all that sort of stuff. And the kids came and they gave me this recording of this carol, these bunch of carols that they all made together, and it was so beautiful. I literally broke down and cried. And so I thought, and I've still got it on my computer. Anytime I need a good cry, I just put it on. And as a parent, you will get to this. Believe me, it's just those little things, and all those presents that they used to make when they were younger. There's still remnants of them are sort of hanging on the walls here, or in my computer drive, or sitting on a shelf. Where they made pottery and stuff. And they're the presents that sort of mean the most to me of everything. So I wanted to sort of give back to the kids and the grandkids and give some, a huge part of our Christmas. Of course, it's all the things that nourish your soul: food, love, bloody music. So in Christmas time at our place is a big feast. Christmas Day, and the extended family can sometimes, sometimes we end up with 50 people for lunch. Including friends of the kids whose parents aren't there. It's orphans, So we end up with about 50 people, and it's like the loaves and fishes. Everybody comes, we all cook together, and we laugh all day, and it's fairly hectic. But come lunchtime, we all sit down for a big Christmas lunch, and invariably over the next few hours, we'll end up sort of wrapped around a piano or a bunch of acoustic guitars singing. And so we sing these songs. And so I thought, and particularly after the COVID lockdown sort of stuff, and when, having the opportunity to sing 300 songs with Jane, on social media, where I got to sing songs that were different for me to sing. I found all these new tones in my voice, and I thought, well, this is the right time. I'm ready to sort of make a record of Christmas carols, because they've meant so much to me in the past. I mean, even in the old days in Elizabeth, when we were a young family there, and it was tough. I've sort of spoke about how tough it was as a family, and we weren't alone. There was all the families were tough, but one of the things we had. That even though we didn't have much else, and we didn't have, we could sing together, and my brothers and sisters and I would quite often walk around the neighborhood singing to people and stuff like that at Christmas time. So these are songs that I've sang since I was a kid.
Just looking at the lineup of tracks on the album, which is called Blue Christmas, Jimmy, I'm wondering how do you get from singing Star Hotel to The Little Drummer Boy? Like, this is it's a long ride from the Largs Pier Hotel to doing a lot of songs that were made famous by people like Bing Crosby.
Well, that's the thing too. Well, there's a time to do them. I probably couldn't have done this record, when I was in Chisel, just because I was still finding my voice. I was angry. I was, there was, I hadn't really sort of found myself, let alone be able to do these songs. And it's sort of like the soul record too, I mean, if I'd have done the soul record as a solo record during Cold Chisel, probably would have stiffed. When I did it after, 7 solo records, it became the biggest record I'd ever had, but it was the right time to do it, whereas, this Christmas record, I just felt this was the right time to do it. And I think it's important that, as Australians, as living in Australia, that, these songs, although we don't celebrate White Christmas, it's very rare you'd find snow at Christmas here, although the way the weather's going, you never know. But, we that's why I called it Blue Christmas, because we're normally surrounded by blue skies and blue sea and all that sort of stuff at Christmas time. But I think that it was the right time to sing these melodies and these songs and these, celebrate this time of year in our own voices, as opposed to, I love Bing Crosby records, and I love, Nat King Cole, and, the Bublé records, good and all that. But to have, I've been singing to people for 50 years in this country, and it's just another part of life that we should celebrate together.
Well, that's great, Jimmy. Well, look, super excited about Saturday. I'm going to try to head along to that myself. It's going to be a cracking night.
It's going to be a wild night. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah, no, Saturday's the one I'm most excited about, to be honest. It's going to be good. 3 nights of music though. Baker Boy on Friday, The Killers on Sunday.
It's a great celebration at Adelaide's holding, and I'm really, really excited about Saturday night. And it's always great to come back and play in Adelaide, but to play at such a big event for the whole town, it's amazing. It's going to be great.
Good on you, Jimmy. Jimmy Barnes, the great Jimmy Barnes. Thanks for joining us, mate. We'll catch you up soon.
All the best.
We'll check traffic in just a moment, but it seems only fitting that to take us there, a little bit more of Jimmy Barnes's Jingle Bell Rock from that new album, Blue Christmas.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. A jingle bell shining, jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a great time. It's a great time to rock the night away. A jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse.
At Gillis Plains, look out for a motorcycle and car smash. North East Road at St Ald's Road. Solid delays there at the moment. Fulham got another smash. This one's Tapley's Hill Road near Henley Beach Road. Also slow going there. And in the city, look out for roads being affected by the Adelaide 500. Quite a few closures, including Bart Hills Road and Hutt Street. Leave early if you're heading that way. Cameras, Babacombe Drive, Moana and Bundy's Road at North Adelaide. Hungry? Head to Porto for the 5 for $5 chicken strips. 5 delicious crispy chicken strips with your choice of dipping sauce. Just $5. Only at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone. Oceans without junk in them. No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
You'll get the right advice and very fair and honest prices. In fact, much of our advice is absolutely free. Call 1300 Manix or go online anytime.
What does Bob Burns Blinds say to summer? Bring it on! Get set for summer now at Bob Burns Blinds with 30 to 50% off selected items. Transform your home with gorgeous window finishes, including custom-made zip screen outdoor blinds designed and made right here in SA. With super quick installation, high-quality materials and first-rate service, creating stunning spaces has never been easier. Get set for summer now with 30 to 50% off selected items. Book your free measure and quote today. Visit bobburnsblinds.com.au.
You gotta love end of year at Southern Mitsubishi and Wayville Mitsubishi. Nothing stops them from giving you the best car buying and servicing experience in Adelaide. Southern Mitsubishi has undergone a major expansion with more used cars in stock than ever, plus same day or next day servicing. And of course, the new Wayville Mitsubishi showroom is just spectacular. Looking for a new Mitsi or an outstanding used vehicle? Head to Wayville and Southern Mitsubishi. Driven by Australian Motors.
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's free open home events to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could look forward to. Come along with family and friends. You can explore our communities, inspect our display homes, discover our social activities and chat with our friendly team. With 3 events across Adelaide on the 10th of December, take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Home today. RSVP is essential and COVID-safe practices apply.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 9, in a few minutes' time, Lucy's going to come in with a hat full of names, people who have donated to North Point Toyota Rowies Ride to Rusden for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You can donate at rowiesride.com.au if you want your name in the hat to win tickets to the Adelaide Test against the West Indies. Day 1 and 2, we've got 4 tickets on day 1, 4 tickets on day 2. It could be you and 3 mates getting along. All you need to do is make a donation to this wonderful cause, the Make-A-Wish Foundation, by way of Rowies Ride to Rusden. Get behind the folks on the North Point Toyota Rowies Ride to Rusden for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Again, that website, rowiesride.com.au. We'll award that prize in just a moment. We'll check the fuel situation first, though. We do so thanks to the free My RAA app, where you can source all this information, check your suburb, check out the petrol stations around you and what's cheap and what's not. The ones we've found that are cheap this morning, the Liberty Marion Road Marion's $1.85.5, United Torrens Road Pennington $1.88.9, the cheapest unleaded ex-convenience Bryan's Road Northfield $1.69.5. I'm not sure why we're paying this much at the moment. Perhaps there's some delay in the oil barrel price filtering through. I note in the United States this morning, they're reporting that the price of gas, as they call it there, is now lower than what it was before the outbreak of war in Ukraine, which is what the oil barrel price is. Ours is going up at the moment. We were in the $60s, but we're in the sort of $80s or higher at the moment. Perhaps it'll flow through. If not, we might start making some inquiries. The cheapest diesel, the ex-convenience Main North Road Jeps Cross, is $2.11.5.
You know what I'm transfixed by? The picture on page 3 of today's Tizer. Rolly Burrell, great friend of the program. Listeners will recall we've done many interviews with Rolly, who heads up Snake Catchers Adelaide. That brown snake that he caught,
huge.
Well, almost didn't catch. It was so big, 2 metres long. But the size of the thing looks like it's just eaten half a goat. Like, it's so fat, and its head is gigantic. So it was found in someone's driveway in my Ponga, just sitting there under some wheat bags. Imagine that, picking up a wheat bag.
No thanks.
It's just...
It's scared. The problem is it's scared Rolly.
I know. Like, you think of brown snakes as being sort of zippy and whippy and generally quite thin.
Well, you don't want that to be whippy and zippy.
That is... So you and I sit about 2 metres apart. That snake would go from here to there.
No thanks.
Ugh. I wonder if any of our listeners have ever seen a snake that big. A brown snake that big.
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you.
Not a python or something, but not in a zoo, but
Yeah.
in real life.
Absolutely. All right, let's go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind
News and issues that matter to Adelaide. This is Leon Biner.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. Isn't it great how some songs from long ago are still great songs? Electric Blue. We'll be talking about power prices later. A lot to get to, and of course, a lot of synonyms and similes and metaphors to use. This program is a huge metal lathe turning down a large rod of pure inspiration into a smaller, nicely shaped spindle of solutions to bigger problems. It's a big, metaphorical, single-celled organism doing its best to climb out of a river of primordial slime and become a living... well, feel the rest of that in yourself. But look, this program belongs to you. I'm just the night watchman, which means my producer Josh is the security guard who notices a piece of tape across the door latch, which he then reports to the authorities, leading to the downfall of the United States government and the resignation of the president. Now, today we'll be having a number of experts on to tell us how awful the world is, what misery we find ourselves in, and of course, how much worse it's going to get. So do feel free to join in with that and share your despair with us, because, let's face it, without your sorrow, this program is nothing. And with Christmas coming up, there's going to be a lot of good cheer and goodwill towards everybody, so it will be good to balance that a bit with wall-to-wall anguish. But look, do try to be civil if you ring, because let's face it, you can't put out a fire even if you are a wet blanket. Oh, that's a good one. Josh, write that down. And with Christmas in mind, we'll also be having someone on from the Strategic Policy Institute, and we'll be exploring at this joyous time of the year how it can still yet go hideously, frighteningly and appallingly wrong. So do feel free to join in.
Now, our business of the week this week is the excellent FIVEAA Milk Company. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it. 4 minutes to 9. I think we're just about out of time for people to make donations to win the raffle this morning, which is those tickets. We've got 8 tickets. Someone will get 4 on day 1 of the test. Someone will get 4 on day 2. VIP tickets. A wonderful prize. Great way to spend a day with your friends. All you have to do is make a donation. rowiesride.com.au. And Lucy's going to come in just a moment. She's busily assembling the receptacle from which she draws the raffle out.
I didn't realise till Tom Wren said it in the 8:30 news that the first test starts tomorrow in Perth.
Where is cricket at?
Well, there's just so much of it. That's the thing. It's sort of, the one day was on last week.
2020 World Cup. It's all just...
It must take its time.
Bubbling along in the background. I figure the nation will get behind the tests. We'll get energised and excited about the tests. But, gee, feels like the sport needs them at the moment. It needs a competitive test summer of cricket.
Well, the Adelaide test's always chockers. Doesn't matter, because it's a social event.
You used to say that about the one-dayer.
Well, yeah. But not just here, everywhere.
That's true. That's right. All right, Lucy is has got something together. I'm not sure what she's got this time. Morning, Luce.
Hello, I've got my white bowl out of the kitchen again
Excellent.
to do our draw now. Remember, we are doing different prizes every day this week for Roey's Ride to Ruston, so is the drive show. So tomorrow we will have something different, and for the rest of the week. Now, I'm going to let you in a little secret here, everyone. Friday, big day on the Brekkie show. You guys may or may not be involved in the prize.
Oh, really?
There's a little teaser for everyone.
Really?
Yeah, genuine surprise. Yeah, I know about it. You guys will find out very, very soon.
Okay.
We're not the prize, are we? What is it? What you call the booby prize?
A date with Dave. No. We're saving that for the Undy Drive next year. No, but today, of course, we have the VIP tickets, all thanks to Channel 7. They are the home of cricket this summer. We're giving away 2, aren't we? Day 1 and Day 2.
That's what we're doing.
Yep.
First one.
The paper
Drum
rustles
roll.
gently in the background.
June Rouvray.
June
First
Rouvray.
one.
June Rouvray.
June, can you please
JR.
give us a call? 8223 0000.
That's a big sporting name in SA.
For the Day 2.
Rouvray.
Day 2 tickets. Cricket at Adelaide Oval, all thanks to Channel 7.
The tension mounts as Lucy takes the paper from the bowl.
Rob Jackson.
Jacko!
Rob Jackson.
Rob, could you also please give us a call?
Rob Jackson sounds like
8223
the kind of person who goes to watch a lot of cricket.
Yeah, Rob Jackson, just a no-nonsense name.
Yeah, Rob Jackson.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Going to the test, as always.
Yeah, exactly. Robbo, Jacko. He's there.
Yeah, he's there.
He's there. You don't even need to ring Rob.
No.
You just, hey, Robbo.
Yeah.
You would see you,
Yeah.
mate.
We're out of time. You know you'll see Leon Bonner coming up next, and we will catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
Are you not getting the services you need from your current home care provider? As one of only a few home care providers offering true self-management,